Grace and peace, everybody. We're back. You saw the thumbnail. You saw the title. You know what we're about to do? We're about to go on it back into Candyland. We're going back into Candyland, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We're jumping back into the rabbit hole to see where it all goes. So at 5:15, Candace announced that she's doing a show. So I figured we start at 5 o'clock, check in with the traps, make sure everything is moving forward. Today has been a wild day on these YouTube streets because everybody and their cousin has been giving her business about this doggone letter. And of course, in the comment section, lots of people have been jumping in the comment section. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and give the people the candies. Y'all make sure that the candies have room up at the front of the church. So go ahead and let them get up in here. Come on up in here quick. Come on, come on, come on. Make room for them. And of course, because these people really want Candace to be true. They really want Candace to be on the money. There's no way around it. There's no way around it. They're not going to just let her collect the L. I mean, she's been collecting L's like LL Cool J for the longest, right? She collected more L's than Lululemon, but let's just let that go. They won't let her. So some of the conspiracies I've heard is that the letter doesn't have the date on it. So apparently it's phony and false and fake because it doesn't have a date on it. Okay. The other one is on the letter. I should have brought it up. That's why I should have had it ready, Jason. On the letter at the bottom where it says his name, Charlie Kirk, there's a redaction under it. Oh no. Oh no. That's terrible. That's horrible. There's a redaction under it. And then of course the other one is they took too long. They should have got the letter out first day. As soon as he got it, he should have read it and then sent it to the New York Post. He should not have sat on it at all. So those are the three that I've heard so far. And I'm pretty sure Candace is going to probably give us another one as soon as she gets. I don't think she's going to talk about it personally. I don't think so. But I could be 1,000% wrong. I'm perfectly fine with that. But for the candies real quick, here we go.
And here we go.
All right, because we know it's going to start. When it starts, I'm just going to jump in and we'll just stream it and we'll just talk about it. We'll jump into the best live chat on the internet and we'll just talk. Shout out to the best internet live chat on the planet. Honey Bun is in the building. Thank you so much for rocking with us. Look what Jason says. Make sure you smash that like button. Treat that like button like these doggone conspiracies. Swat it down. Thank you. Yo, Kimberly says, what's happening? Black Faces Live. Sends the shout outs for sure. Wait, she got her Halloween face on? Oh, yeah. You're wild. Thank you so much, little Mimi. I appreciate you so much for stopping through. What's Juju BC say here? I had to pause trailer because she looks demonic. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to traumatize y'all with the trailer. I apologize. I was just playing the video. I was just playing it. Let's see who else is in here. Melissa says this. She will say that the letter is fake. The only thing that is fake is Candace Owens. No question about it. I truly believe she's going to probably say it's going to be fake, but hey, whatever. The people just want, I don't understand. Maybe this is a question I should ask the candies. Why do you want this to be a fake letter? What is it that you ultimately want? I'm not saying that we deny reality. I'm not saying that we wish upon a star and wishing for the great pumpkin. But what is it? What is the game plan? Well, what's the goal? Because I've yet to hear somebody who's refuted the letter to actually talk about the substance of the letter. It's more about the formatting. It's more about the redaction. It's about the timing. But it's not about what actually Charlie Kirk wrote. That nobody's actually refuting that. Because that flies in the face of what Candace said. Candace didn't say that the letter had the proper date on it. Candace didn't say that they redacted his private phone number from it. No, that's not what Candace said. Candace said that he was critical of Israel's policies and it's such of that nature. And I think we all read it because I read the silly letter this morning to you all. That's not what he was doing. So Candace is wrong. But I just want to know, why do you want this to be true? That's just my question. You can't fix stupid. You can't. The voices in her head have spoken. Y'all are wild. I was like, why is it so bright in here? These lights are too big. And my friend is texting me about my camera. Shout out to Devin. Oh, yeah, we're going too dark now. That might be a little bit too Halloweenish. I like this one. All right, we're going to go dark. All right. Oh, no. She'll claim that the bees wrote it, Angel? Uh-oh. I like it. Maybe Candace will start obsessing over roaches now instead of bees. I don't I don't want either of them, truth be told. But I have learned a lot about bees since we've been talking about it. I've learned a lot more about bees than I thought I would ever know. All right. Here it goes. Candace is using MK Ultra tactics on her audience. Why she's obsessed with the books. You know, that actually isn't a far-fetched idea, Brandon, at all. That's not far-fetched at all. And I'll tell you why. She talks about a book called Chaos a lot. She brings it up a lot. She'll show it up on screen, all that kind of stuff like that. And in that book, they talk about the dissemination of information, and you just give information in huge waves. And if you ever sit back and watch how Candace actually gives information, guess what she does? She gives it in huge waves to the point that people will ultimately stop pushing against it and just kind of go along with the wave. They'll just take it. So there's probably more truth to that than you realize. I like it though. I think she will ignore the whole letter situation altogether. Really? Okay. You with me? Okay. I like it. Make sure you hit that like button, y'all. Oh, let me make sure I got this video queued up. It's queued up. She's supposed to be going live in a few minutes, and we're just going to do a watch party. I think that'd be fun. It's just their their confirmation bias, ego. That's it. Honey Bun, I agree with you. I like that. I wish people would say her name, but I like your point about not wanting to give her credit because she'll spin anything anyone does to her narrative. I agree with you, Jocelyn. I think people like myself, I'm just a small content creator here in Atlanta talking loud in my office. I don't think I have that much pull. If we're talking about some big namer that you can say their first name and everybody knows who they're talking about, maybe not. I don't think Turning Point should say anything to Candace Owens at all. Period. End of story. No, they should not get into the fray. People like myself, I ain't got nothing else to do. Why not? I'm retired and I got a microphone. We can cause chaos. But I think people like that. I do think Brandon Tatum, after further review, because you all really helped shed some light on that, I do think Brandon Tatum needs to say something to her. I mean, and about her directly on camera about it. I think that it will be needful. It doesn't have to be, several relationships and you can't come to my kid's Christmas party, nothing like that. But it does. I think Brandon does need to because of his relationship with her. And because he's alluded that he's talked to her offline. And at this point in the game, now I have to be public about my discomfort and my distaste for what you're doing. That's my thoughts. Shout out for sure. She's a plant to muddy waters and create division. No question there at all. The candies don't know. They wait until their leader speaks to tell them. I mean, really? If you look at the comment section, there's a lot of candies that jumped into the comment section. Shout out for being a part of the most electrifying comment section on the internet. I appreciate you. But even in that, they're saying things that are not true. They're saying things like, really? So the whole reason the letter is thrown out, all 900 words or 9,000 words, whatever, is because it doesn't have the date on it? Is that what we're supposed to believe? Okay. All right. Okay. It's being validated by someone at TPUSA. So she'll obviously say that the person, oh, right. Stupid is as stupid does. It's too dark. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm back. Oh man, I didn't see this, man. They were saying, Jason, get it together, man. Too black, too strong. Okay. OMG. Candace becomes a mega employer with more and more self-invited guest employees. Okay. She will talk about it. Her interpretation, of course, will be entirely different than what the letter says. I can dig that. I can dig that. If she does, she'll transliterate it. I'll give you that. Absolutely. All right. She's going to get her lying butt sued with the ridiculous accusation she makes. She needs mental health for real, shaking my head. I'm with you, Maria. This is my only thing. I'm going to go back and change something that I said. TPUSA does not need to address Candace Owens unless they're suing her. If they are in a position to sue her because of what she's doing, then carry on. If you're just going to get into a street battle and get out here in these YouTube streets and social media back and forth, no bueno. But if they're going to sue her, then yeah, I do think they should talk. They can talk about it then. But if not, then don't even bring it up. All right, what we got here? Candy K's has Candace give the name of the person at TPI. Candy K's, really? I mean, at this stage of the game, Candace cannot, in good faith. I mean, I got Nick Fuentes giving her the work. And I mean, so many people are calling her out. Like, who are your sources? Who are these people? I think it's going to be really hard for her to get away with the trust me, bro approach moving forward. Now, I could be wrong, but it's going to be really hard for her to sell the trust me, bro argument moving forward, because everybody's going to be asking, like, how are you getting these sources? You're saying there's leaks at TPUSA? Really? Who are they? Where'd you get the leak from? Come on. Because otherwise you're just lying. I think that's just really it. Otherwise, you're just being disingenuous and you're being untruthful. She never brings receipts, Dragon says. It always ends up, oh, well, I can't tell you who my source was, right? That's my point. Like, I'm sorry. You burn everybody else down. Go ahead and burn your source down too. Okay. Queen says she don't think she's going to acknowledge the letter. Okay. I mean, it's very possible. I ain't going to even lie. This is going to be fun. This is going to be adorable. Hey, what's MT? Thank you, MT, for the $2 super. Says this. Andrew confirmed the letter is real on Tim Pool. Right. I did that video and dropped that earlier. So I don't know. I'm interested to see what she says. But you know what? Candace has no problem saying that somebody from TPUSA is not being honest. So I wouldn't be surprised if she says Andrew's not honest. Remember, she already laid out the groundwork that Andrew doesn't say anything because he's a PR person. He only speaks for whomever tells him to speak. So she's already kind of poisoned the well that he could be lying. So I wouldn't be surprised if she does that, if she comes out and says that. What's going on? Good evening to you. All right, let's see. Lots of good. I'm just looking through here. Lots of good family reunion going on. Yeah, I'm right here in the great peach state of Georgia. Absolutely. Does Candace realize that she's causing a lot of division? What else do you think she was trying to do? Not trying to be funny with you, Tracy. What do you think she was trying to do? Because I argue that was her mission. Her mission has always been to cause division. That's it. She wasn't intending to do anything. Wait, we thought she was really cared about Charlie Kirk? No, she's causing division. Yeah, her thumbnail is Pretty Little Liars. Yep, that is true. That's what she has. Courtside is in Georgia as well. Maybe we should do a Georgia meetup downtown. What is going on? Right. If TPUSA says anything, you're going to jump on it and twist it. I mean, so there we go. Yeah, TPUSA doesn't need to give her any time of day. Nothing. Not at all. Come on, Destiny. It's hard to make these polls because you only have so many words, so many letters you can put in there. So you got to kind of make it work. Work with me. I'm disappointed, even whether she turns out right about any one detail. I guess that I think that is not the way you act, but about a close friend, it just seems like she's thought nothing about his family. I would love to know, has Candace even talked to his family at all? At all. All right, lots of good conversation going back and forth. I'm glad to see each and every one of y'all. They're going to be starting in a second, and we'll bring it in, and we're going to just have a watch party. Let's have some fun. Make sure I am caught up. We are ready to go when they go live. We're ready. What's up, Cookie? I'm glad. Well, welcome. Glad to have you. Thank you so much. Well, that's a very good question, Hillbilly Belinda. You know, nobody had a problem when Candace showed text messages that had no dates on them. She attested when she showed the text messages from Charlie, when she showed the text messages to her sister about I think there was on the B one, I think there was, but from Charlie, there weren't dates on those. Cause I even asked you, like, how do y'all see dates if you're using an iPhone? Hey, good catch. I totally forgot about that. They said she's working with some British people. Y'all ain't playing, man. Y'all said, look, we are not taking her foolishness. Well, thank you so much, Candy K. I do appreciate it. Thank you so much for being a member, being a supporter. I just thought the light was cool. Right. If she's going to say that there's a leak at TPUSA, she's going to have to out it. She's just got to. Otherwise, she's just making it up. She's just lying because she hasn't shown us anything that actually is conclusive. Like, oh yeah, that really came from TPUSA. There's nothing. And y'all, she alluded that she knew about that letter from Bibi Netanyahu. What she alluded was not true. So who's your source? Show us the letter that you allege that you have. Show us the original letter. If you're saying this is a fake letter, show us the real letter. That would be a barn burner, right? If they put out a fake letter and Candace has the real one, whoa, stop the press. Show us the real one. But I digress. Her text receipts don't have dates and times. Absolutely. What's going on? Love from Portugal. Shout out from Portugal. Well, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, they're going hot. Let's bring it in, Jason. All right. We're ready. When she's ready to go hot, we're ready. I'm going to mute this because I don't really like the sound. All right. I think he did too, but I was just saying, like, maybe a more direct would be a little bit better, Paradox. Maybe to really get to do away with any confusion, because he definitely disagrees with her as it relates to her stance on Israel. So maybe just be very clear, right? Or even have her on the channel and they can duke it out. I think that would be useful for sure. I know what else is useful. Hillbilly Belinda. What makes me mad is her lies may help the defense with reasonable doubt. They may have to take the death penalty off. Now that's a great friend. I agree. 1000%. She's literally doing the job for the defense and she's muddying the water. Because remember, they don't have a jury. I mean, we're nowhere near that yet. So they don't even have a jury to know that she's poisoning the jury pool. But she's thrown out all of these prospects, all of these possibilities that ultimately can't be proven. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're back. Let's go.
Clear. I said there will be no fakeness in this investigation. And apparently there were some people who did not take me seriously or literally, because there are a lot of little lies being told.
Oh, right? Little lies.
Charlie gets assassinated, and the very people who were threatening him reputationally and financially are now trying to memorialize him as having died as a friend of Israel. Okay, challenge accepted. All lies will be revealed, and we're going to help reveal those lies. Also, yesterday we asked for the public's help in identifying two individuals who Phil Lyman's nephew described as his close friends, who decided to retrace the path of Charlie's killer. And what we have discovered thus far is absolutely stunning. This story couldn't get any crazier. By the way, I did speak to Phil Lyman, and I'll tell you what he told me and what he insisted that we clarify. Now, I would say that it's getting weird, but honestly, right from the jump, it's been weird. So, welcome back to Candace.
She said she calling out the lies, y'all. She calling out the lies. Y'all, I'm going to put it right here. I'm putting it right here in ink. She ain't going to give no new details. Nothing new. Not a thing. She going to skip that letter. Green hearts in the chat when you can hear.
2 weeks, but now Bibi Netanyahu, with maybe a little help from Turning Point USA, I'm thinking, is releasing the letter, the May love letter from Charlie Kirk to Israel, just out of nowhere. He was just overcome with love for Israel, and he decided to write this love letter to the prime minister about how they could fight harder, how they commit themselves further to the Israeli cause. We're going to get to that. And we're just going to slaughter that narrative that Charlie died pro-Israel. But first, I want to jump right back into what we uncovered yesterday to keep you guys focused. I presented to you guys in short that the gubernatorial candidate, Phil Lyman, was a bit, in my opinion, too involved in the investigation of who assassinated Charlie Kirk. Just he was saying and doing a little too much, and his energy was weird, and the energy of Tiffany Barker was weird. And we were clear that's potentially just because, he's a politician or an aspiring politician. Maybe he wants to assert himself as a leader in Utah. This assassination has taken place. But I also felt like maybe he potentially knew a bit more than he was letting on. Now, the Lyman family in general was everywhere, all over this investigation. We introduced, and I said his name was Shane. I'd like to correct that record. His nephew, Shaner Broderick, who rather notoriously retraced the footpath of the killer with his two close friends. They were like, here it is. The Converse footprint is right here. They even created a map, okay? Shaner even created a map of where exactly the killer walked, and the media used his map. And of course, Phil Lyman's car was in the driveway just 20 minutes before Phil Lyman reiterated to Fox News. It was just 20 minutes before I pulled into the driveway at my aunt's house, and I parked my car. And then 20 minutes later, the killer was limping by. Now, I'll let you guys know that when our episode finished yesterday, I had a message or two from Phil Lyman, despite the fact that I had reached out to him hours before we began our show. And he was understandably upset. He, at first, was sort of focusing his energy toward Nick, the person that I told you worked on his campaign and just wanted to help out in the investigation. Now, Phil would like me to clarify that Nick never worked on his campaign. And by the way, I looked back, and that was actually my mistake, not Nick's. I thought that when Nick had first introduced Lyman to me over the phone, that he said, oh, like I am, I'm working on his campaign. And apparently that was not accurate. So I take full credit for that. That was completely, again, something that I came up with by accident. Now, the other things that
she just admitted she was wrong.
Interested
Lord have
in
mercy.
clarifying were also not really substantive issues. And I want to say that Nick, having not worked on his campaign, actually makes it even more odd that he would stop by his house this past Saturday. Well, regarding why, by the way, he stopped by Nick's house at all on Saturday, he said that it was because he was helping Nick out early on in the investigation. Yes, that is true. I told you guys that. And Nick was particularly asking him to determine who owned a white vehicle that was parked in the neighborhood, which was nearby where the shooter had walked. Nick lives nearby. And everyone locally had looked at this vehicle and said that it was remarkably suspicious. And Phil had come back to him and said, I can help you to just figure out more about this vehicle that was parked. Nick had nothing but a picture of that. But that was over 2 weeks ago. So I have no idea why that would have anything to do with why he was stopping by Nick's place. Obviously, that car is long gone. It's been gone. And the fact that it appeared and then disappeared is one of the reasons why Nick wanted somebody to look into it. So I'm not entirely clear why he needed to stop at Nick's house to speak to him and why that would be on his list of things to do. Now, I am told, according to a very strong source, that was what Phil Lyman was doing in town on Saturday was he was meeting with Tim Ballard. That's totally random. Did not expect to hear that. Tim Ballard, if you are not familiar with him, is formerly of Operation Underground Railroad, which is a charity that is dedicated to helping to stop human sex trafficking. I even remember, by the way, when we were all speaking about that plane transponder that turned off, that the individuals that owned that plane were wearing an Operation Underground Railroad t-shirt.
Oh, man.
So I was expecting that. I am going to reach out to Tim Ballard. I know him. I've actually interviewed him, and I used to donate to that charity because I was so moved by my interview with him when I was working for Prager University. But moving on from that, Phil also disputes something that was quite strange, that Shaner Broderick is his nephew. I said, okay, wait a minute. Actually, Shaner Broderick literally posted that on his Instagram. He said, my uncle Phil Lyman. But Phil seems like he's trying to distance himself for some reason from Shaner. He said, actually, maybe Shaner's confused. We're just cousins. We're just cousins. Okay, well, Shaner must have been very confused because it was also posted on his LinkedIn as a connection that Phil Lyman was his uncle. It's probably part of the reason, politically speaking, that he was chosen for an internship with Senator Mike Lee of Utah. I feel like that was a little bit of political maneuvering. So I'm not clear why that he's suddenly saying that it's not his nephew. Anyway, it's not up to me. I'm not here to get into the middle of a family feud. But something interesting happened since our episode. Shaner completely wiped his LinkedIn page. Doesn't want us to know who he's connected to. He's also completely wiped his Facebook page entirely. And regarding his Instagram, he's privatized it, but he privatized it and then removed all of the photos of his investigation into who Charlie Kirk's killer was. Now, that doesn't make any sense to me. I don't understand that. I can't make sense of why you would just move to delete everything when I've reached out to you.
Because you unleashed your crazy Candace cult on that boy. Is just a college student. And you're saying his whole government name, for crying out loud, Candace. How nose blind do you have to be? You're insane. You're unleashing these bunch of lunatics on him. I'm sure his Facebook, his LinkedIn, and his social media have been deluged by people scouring, trying to find something. Of course you don't understand it, because it makes sense what you're doing. Ma'am, please go have 4 seats. 4 of them. She can have 4 seats in the front of the church. Good gracious, this is insane.
As opposed to speaking to me about where you were, why you shot this video, and maybe sending me that video in general.
Who the heck I'm sorry, y'all. Y'all don't call my pastor on me, y'all. Don't call my pastor on me. Candace, who the hell are you? Who are you? Nobody cares what you think, boo. Yo, this is ridiculous. And I'm betting you $10 she still ain't gonna address that letter. I know she said it. I don't think she's gonna address it. I think she's gonna run the shot clock out and be like, oh, stay tuned for next week, behind the paywall. I guarantee. Who are you? You over here harassing a college student, and you feel good about that? Girl, please go have a seat. Y'all make some room for Candace Spears in the front row of the church.
I asked Phil Lyman 3 times via text whether or not he could help us, more importantly, identify the 2 individuals that were in the photo with his nephew or cousin, if you will. And he was kind of pretending to be confused about what photo in particular I was referring to, despite the fact that I sent it multiple times in the text chain. And then finally he said that he had no idea who those 2 individuals were at all. I thought that's interesting. This is allegedly your nephew, cousin. You guys are all chilling on this block around the same time. He's with these 2 individuals. You've never heard of them. You've never seen them. Nothing.
Why would you?
Because
why is it abnormal that I don't know all of my cousins' friends? Why is that abnormal? You can't. How about this one? I will go get all of my cousins' friends. I'll use my niece because she comes over pretty regularly. I will go find out all of my niece's friends as soon as you upload all of your sources. How about that? That's what we'll do. And everybody in the best live chat on the internet, after you hit that like button, you go find all of your cousins' friends, and they'll do the exact same thing as soon as we know who your sources are, Candace.
I got to identify that guy in the blue hat.
Why?
Many of you figured out, by the way, and wrote to the tips box exactly what we were interested about in that person with the blue hat. You noticed the same thing that we noticed. He kind of resembles, certainly more so than Tyler Robinson does, the blurred image of the individual that was coming up the stairs. I couldn't look away from that. I was going through the photos and I was going, I would just like to quickly identify that individual and check him off and just know where he was, because.
So basically you're saying all white guys look alike. That's basically what we're doing now. So we've moved from trust me, bro, to all white men look alike. That's basically what we're doing in real time. This has got to be and to keep couching it like she's doing investigations is nasty work. All white guys look alike. Type that in the chat. Sorry about that. All white guys look alike.
Yeah, it looks to be about the same height. It's weird. Oddly, when I say oddly, I mean this has never happened in the history of all of our investigations. No one emailed us to say that they knew either of those two individuals, neither the blonde that's with Shaner or the person that is wearing the blue hat that is with Shaner. I said, that's weird. Nobody in the whole wide Candace Owens universe of investigation. It was making me believe maybe those two individuals are like, I don't know, from overseas. Like maybe they're not even.
She went overseas. Y'all, this has got to be a comedy skit. I'm sorry. Right. Like, who are you, ma'am? I'm sorry, y'all. Candace she is adorable. Candaspiracy is absolutely unequivocally adorable, y'all. Now the people from overseas. Yep, I just saw it right there. You know Israel's about to enter the chat. You know Israel's about to catch these strays. She said nobody knew about these people. They must be from overseas. You know it's coming. You know it's coming. Lord have mercy. Let's go.
American. And it turns out, we were able to identify one of those individuals in the photo, and he is Austrian. It's no wonder nobody recognized him. I mean, what? Austrian? What's this Austrian guy doing? How did we get here? Anyways, his name is Gurno Omer, and we were able to find that his face matched with photos from a blog post that was written in German that was basically entitled Anniversary Hike, 10 Years on Foot to the Sea. The blog is about a group of 30-year-olds who are recreating a hike that they took together when they were 20. Now, I don't even know if I'm saying his name right, Gernot. I guess it is a. How
about not saying the man's name at all? Like, what is knowing his name? If you know it, and you say, hey, I found, but I guarantee she's done no research to actually confirm that this is the guy. Because if she's using that Chinese spy software that she used before, we already know that that's suspect. She tried that with Brigitte, and we know that didn't work perfectly. Y'all, this woman is nasty work. Y'all, shout out to the best live chat on the internet. I promise you, it's got to get better. Please, Lord, let it get better.
Name in Austria, and there are a few photos of him that were available. We were able to find his face also matched up in a YouTube video for a company called Bearing Point, where he is seen with a group of people and is introduced as one of their software development teams, a member of one of their software development teams. So let's take a listen to that clip from YouTube.
This is the Bearing Point office in Graz. This is where Bearing Point's key technology competencies are concentrated. This is one of our software development teams. Some people are managers and some are not. It doesn't matter. It's all one team.
Very recently, he moved to Utah, according to his LinkedIn, which I hope doesn't get wiped. I'd love to get in touch with him. In May of 2024, he moved to Utah to become a software engineer for JP Morgan and Chase. And I guess the story goes that he became best friends with Shaner Broderick. I don't know. We'll find out. Now, what about the other guy, right? So yesterday,
wait, hold on.
Fun.
Wait. A moment ago, she said that the people were not in the United States. That's why she had to look overseas. But he lives in Utah. And it looked like he had been there for a minute. So that means that he is in the United States. Okay. I'm telling you, Israel is still going to get in the chat, y'all, somehow or another.
At the
This
narrative
is
that Phil Lyman seemed to
crazy.
be trying to spin, suggesting that quote unquote Gothic girls might have been suspicious, that they maybe could have been responsible or aware at least that the shooting was going to occur. That was a part of his story. He saw these Gothic girls and they seemed unfazed in all of the chaos, you know? And I thought that was an interesting way to describe someone as Gothic. Gratefully, Phil Lyman did send us footage of him after the shots rang out. And I am saying shots plural for a reason, because we will show you that video. But first, I want to recap what specifically Phil said publicly about where he was when the shots rang out, because I vaguely remembered him painting a picture that he was outside. That certainly seems to be what he told both Alex Jones and News Nation, that he was outside when the shot rang out. Let's take a listen to what he said on Alex Jones.
Just yesterday, someone comes in and says, we've got video. He came off the roof. He came up here to the parking lot, got in the car with an individual, and they drove away. Well, that's not the story that came. So that he escaped another route. And there are people who are coordinating this thing. I do not believe that 30-06 that they showed recovered in the bushes was ever on the roof. I think it was in the bushes to start with. And now I'm not saying that Tyler Robinson wasn't on the roof. I'm not saying he didn't pull a trigger. I know I was in very, very close proximity. So another interesting thing, like I say, I left the front of the stage. I wanted to meet some of my friends and bring them down front. So I was clear at the east end, and I heard this loud boom. I heard this loud bang, and I turned around and I'm looking like, what was that? What was that? And pretty soon some people started, running. Everyone was trying to process, and I thought, this is a gunshot, and there's going to be more of them. I thought it could turn into a mass shooting. So I go to the people closest to me. Everyone's ducking down behind the concrete retaining walls, and some of them were still kind of oblivious, but there were two people that were standing there. Two girls, very goth, very black, And then I just walked, and I stepped up to the side of them, and I said, did that not happen right here? Did you hear that? Was that right here? And they said, yeah, it was just right over there. So they're confirming, yeah, the shooter or wherever that sound came from is right here. The thing that didn't really dawn on me is that they were not running. They were not frightened. In fact, as I stepped up, I heard one of the girls, and they were talking to each other, and they're looking at these kids, looking at the scene down below them of all these people fleeing for their lives. And she says, go F yourselves. And like I say, I was not processing that. I was trying to figure out what was going on. I thought this is a separate conversation. I don't know what it is. In hindsight, as I've watched that over and over, it's like, these people were not afraid.
Okay, now News Nation, I want you to listen carefully, because he at first says that he was about to walk into the building and the shot rang out, but then he says he ran out of the building after the shot rang out. So let's take a listen to that.
I walked up top. I had to go meet some people. So I was down there when we started talking. I thought I'm going to go up top and meet some of the people. So I got clear up on top, and I was just coming around the corner, walking into one of the buildings, and I heard a loud bang that I thought was right behind me. And I turned around, looked at the girl that was there, and she was kind of looking stunned, like, what was that? And I'm looking at her, and then see a little bit of commotion. I realized right then it's a gunshot. So I ran out. The people running into the building, I ran out to see who it was. I'm thinking there's a lot of kids out here, and and then a few minutes later, then the police were running, saying, "Did anybody see? Did anybody see?" I think he was on the roof above me. I really is the only thing I could figure, because it's like it had to have been very, very close to where I'm standing, and in hindsight, I think it was probably above me on the roof.
Okay, so a couple of those statements are what I would describe as little lies. Well, they're just not true, because at 12:23, according to his metadata, because he sent it to me, Bill Lyman was inside of the building, and he must have then immediately, according to our timeline, hit record, and he didn't run. He calmly walked out of Sorensen building.
I fully disagree, because metadata, I thought she was talking about metadata as relates to a picture that gives you like the geolocation. That right there is not necessarily, because the fact that she believes that he was inside the building when he could have been standing right in front of it and it would still locate him as inside the building. Come on, she can't be this obtuse. She can't be.
I'm saying that right, the Sorensen building. And he wasn't the only one that was walking calmly. And I'm not, by the way, none of these people are suspicious to me, walking calmly, because they're inside the building, not really sure what they heard, perhaps. And they're all kind of walking calmly out. And I'm going to show you that footage. And to be clear, you're going to see two girls that are simply wearing black. By no stretch of imagination would I refer to these girls as Gothic. Actually, I think one of them is actually a guy, but they're wearing black, not dark makeup. There's just black. And he asks them, what I can hear audibly is he asks them, what was that? So I don't know how certain he was. It could have been a shooting, but I'm going to let you watch it first, and then we're going to try to clean up the audio. Now, if you're listening to this on a podcast and you're not able to watch this, you might want to turn this down because it is visual. Take a look. So you can just sort of see everyone up top. A couple of people were actually out there are ducking. He was on the inside. Like I said, this was at 12:23, so he was inside, walked out, and then he's going to start a conversation with two people that are just wearing black. And
so it's bad that he called him goth? That's what it is?
And then you see he continues, the video goes on for like 3 minutes, and he just sort of walks down and he engages in a conversation with those two girls, and they answer him. There's nothing here that seems to me to be controversial. When he hears them say something about FU, it's before he has a conversation with him. It does happen. Take a listen. Just trying to isolate this audio for you guys. Those are two girls talking about. Actually, I think there's a guy.
You see where that came from? It was right here, wasn't it? It was like over here. Yeah.
So he says, did you see where that came from? It seems like a normal conversation, kind of weird for me. And there's a reason why I'm saying that, to hone in on these two individuals and to say like gothic, and to pretend that they were doing something that looked abnormal, given the fact that in the longer video, everyone up top is quite calm, because I don't think they're really entirely sure what is happening. And some of them are ducking because maybe they saw it because they were outside. So I wanted to get to the bottom, as I said earlier, of who that second person was in the photo with his nephew, cousin, whatever you want to call him. And we got just one hit. And it was, honestly, it was from Belfast, North Ireland, no less. Somebody sent us an email. And he said, look, I conducted an interview, an internet-wide search of the person's face, and I only got one hit using technology, and the hit was in Provo, Utah. And he wrote to me that it was quite a coincidence, because not only is the person in Provo for this one hit for this face, but also he's featured on a website pertaining to bees. And he's like, didn't you just do a thing saying that you had this weird thing about bees? And you thought there, there's something else going on. And my goodness, you guys, I almost jumped when I learned.
Hold on. Stop. Oh my goodness. I did not expect bees to jump into the chat. Oh, I was not prepared for bees. I was expecting Israelis, not bees. Y'all flood the chat with bees. I need to see bees in the chat. Oh, I did not expect bees. I did not. Oh, I'm so upset. I cannot believe that. I did not see bees coming. I did not see it. I got to put bees in the chat. I need bees. Flood this thing with bees in the chat. My goodness, in the morning. How in the world did she do that? How does she bring in bees? Y'all, this woman is absolutely unequivocally crazy. Flood the chat with bees. Let's go.
That website he was referring to, Buzzard and Bees, is a Gothic underground in Provo. Okay, so this is the website. It's a Gothic underground of all things in Provo. The website Buzzard and Bees, and they're speaking about a Gothic prom. That is where that person's face comes up, except he's wearing makeup to make him, well, look a little more Gothic. Take a look at this. I'm going to show you the side by side of this individual, and I am certain, can't say 100%, okay, because we need to find this person's name, but this is a match.
Wow.
The chin, just everything about this individual is a match. But he is as of yet identified as a unidentified, as a Gothic person, and he is also as of yet unidentified as the close friend of Shayna Broderick, who cannot be found anywhere else, or people are not familiar with this person. So I'm thinking maybe he also came from overseas.
Wow. Y'all, this woman is... wow, she missed her calling, man. She was supposed to be a suspense novel writer. She has missed her calling. How in the world did she double back and get bees in the chat? Now, mind you, again, she has not shown us anything that would corroborate this. At this point in the game, I need to see the email. You can redact the actual email, but I need to see, like, this email came from whomever at gmail.com and said this. Because she's just telling me this. So as far as I know, she could be having this conversation in her head. I just don't believe it. But my goodness, in the morning, I was not prepared for bees to enter this chat. How in the world?
Now, quickly regarding our question pertaining to Mike Mitchell, right? I was saying that it was pretty odd and obvious that they were trying to protect this detective, Mike Mitchell. We also learned that he's a Boy Scout leader in the LDS church, but usually if you have a long tenure as a police officer, you're just featured in a lot of articles. And then we received some leads that I think have helped clarify exactly what sort of a detective he was, and maybe why he was not featured in a lot of articles, because he was, as it appears to be, a undercover detective. By all accounts, he was an online detective. Apparently, if this is the correct Mike Mitchell, and given the timeline of when he becomes an undercover detective.
So she doesn't know. So she is now putting out somebody's information again. She's putting out information she does not know emphatically that she is the right person. Now, Mike Mitchell seems to be a pretty generic name, kind of like John Smith. And so instead of doing due diligence, instead of saying, hold on, let's wait till Wednesday, let's wait till Thursday, and confirm and double check and triple check our sources. Nope. She's got to put it out there now. Instead of talking about the letter that's burning up the internet right now, see, all this could go to all of this can go sit on the back of the stove. What's on the stove, what's hot is that letter. She's not going to talk about that letter, y'all. I'm telling you. This is crazy.
I have a strong hunch that it is the right individual,
Strong
because he says
hunch.
he was on the force for 25 years. This individual began his career in 1999. His job, Detective Mike Mitchell, was to create messages online to entrap pedophiles. Okay, by pretending that he was underage. You guys know, you've heard about these sorts of stings. You pretend that you're underage as an officer and see people that try to hook up with you, and then you make an arrest. And so we can take a look at this article from November of 1999. It says, police surf internet to snag pedophiles. And it tells us Mike Mitchell sits at a desk tapping on a computer keyboard and becomes a boy. He's chatting with someone now. His words are full of typos and misspellings and childlike phrases. Mike Mitchell is not a boy. He is a police detective hunting for a pedophile. But the hunted doesn't know that. Mitchell, a detective with the Salt Lake County Sheriff's Office, has been investigating child sex crimes on the internet for about a year.
Do you realize how much trouble she could be in if this is not the real Mike Mitchell that she's talking about? Like, why? What does this have to do with anything? And why not do your due diligence, Candace, if in fact you're a journalist and if in fact you are trying your best to be, I guess you're trying to find the killer of Charlie Kirk, why not let this cook so that you can make sure that you are beyond reproach? Why not? What's the rush? I'll wait, because there's none. There's no reason.
I don't think people realize how big it is, he tells them. Okay, so that's interesting to me. Okay, and we can't then go, okay, let's make a jump here. Just because he's creating messages online, first and foremost, doesn't necessarily mean that he's the person that authored the fake Fed messages. And I'm implying that. But I do actually thought it was quite interesting because when we covered George Zinn, who was the decoy boy that day, who then we find out is into pedophilia, right? And he gets arrested because he has children being sexually abused on his phone. Absolutely despicable person. It really made us wonder. Again, I said this in a previous episode, whether or not he had been blackmailed in some capacity to play the decoy boy and to give the shooter time to get away. I just find that to be interesting. A lot of stuff happening right now, guys, and we are definitively getting closer to what took place on that day. And we have a lot of leads that are coming in. And I want to say that I want to refocus your attention and now open this up internationally, because I have a hunch on who that goth kid is. Okay. Somebody attended this goth prom in Provo, Utah. Somebody overseas perhaps recognizes that person. Like I said, I would venture a guess that he is not from Utah, because I've never seen no hits come in. Somebody saying I went to high school with him. And yeah, that's what I want you to focus your attention on. Tips at CandaceOwens.com. Again, reminding you guys, please do not send us, because we're such a small team, please do not send us TikTok videos and saying you should watch this, or, you know, look at this theory. Reserve that to
flood her with that. Flood her with it
when you are on those specific apps, and we will pick up from there. We got to get into the Charlie Kirk legacy. I am pretty fired up about that, and I'm pretty disgusted at a lot of stuff that I'm learning. And before we do that, I first want to throw it to Riverbend Ranch, because I've been speaking a lot about Riverbend Ranch. They have fantastic steak.
Okay, shout out. I'm gonna ignore her ad read. Shout out to the best internet live chat on the planet. Real quick, MT coming through with the $2 super. I hope they all sue her. Everyone involved. It's evil. Like, you're using people's names and you're putting them out there like that. That has got to be some nasty work. Thank you so much for the $2 super. What does Amethyst say with the $5? She is loquacious patched. She is a loquacious patched quilt. You don't reach freedom encoded in the design. You just end up dizzy, confused, and still enslaved. Come on, my goodness, in the morning. Thank you so much for the $5 super. $2 per MT again. I'm sorry, one of her fans just posted all his info 1 minute ago. Like, that's crazy work. Thank you so much. Just Rhonda, $5. She says this: I live in Orem, Utah, graduated from UVU in 2020, lived 4 miles from campus, had a grandson in class on campus that day. This lying liar pisses off all of us. I mean, really, she's putting a lot of people in danger. She's putting a lot of people in danger, which is crazy work. Wait, hold on. Wait. How is she doing an ad read for Beekeeper's Natural? Hold on. She's doing an ad read for Beekeeper's Natural?
Keep you feeling your best. I use Propolis throat spray, especially during travel or for school season. It's clean, it's natural, and it's free from all the junk that you cannot pronounce. There's no dyes, no chemicals, there's no fake sugars.
Okay, all right, because that's not coincidental that you have a sponsor that's called Beekeepers. Okay, all right, nope, nothing to see here. Let's keep going, Jason. Stay away from it. Thank you, MT. Again, Target on the kid's back now. That's disgusting because her fans are crazy. We don't call them candies for crazy, for nothing. They're nuts. And they're following a cult. I'm telling you, as sure as my name is Jason, this is a cult in training. All right, let's go back. She's back. She's back.
The attacks that are coming at me are good, though, because I am just feeling more and more energized by them. I understand exactly what is going on. The people fighting for Charlie Kirk's legacy. I got to say this. You know what? I am starting to think, let me know if you think this is crazy.
Oh,
but I'm
yes.
starting to think that the assassination of Charlie Kirk was something akin to a regicide, right? The assassination of a king to install a new ruler who the king would have never approved of, right? Maybe people around him counseling the king, people who perhaps betrayed him, because there are just too many things that I am finding out that are not adding up to me, okay? There are also, I do want to say this, too many first times leading up to this event, okay? One person who emailed me said, hey, I've been supplying bulletproof vests to Charlie for all of these campus tours. And suddenly last spring, the last campus tour, they canceled my contract with them. They did not want to renew. When I asked them why, they told me that Charlie wanted to go a different direction by getting an army vest instead, like a metal army vest, I believe is what he says. And he said, this made no sense to me. I didn't understand it. Okay. So Charlie decided to use a new company.
Where's the proof? I'm sorry. Show us the evidence, Candace. Candace, you're just saying this. I could tell you that Charlie Kirk called me on September 8th to ask me where I get my hats from, and he wanted to buy into the company that I get my hats from. I can just say that. Charlie Kirk emailed me. Charlie Kirk came to my house and knocked on the door and asked me where I get my hats from. I could just say it, Candace. Where is your evidence? Where's your proof? Y'all better stop following this woman. This woman is evil. And I'm not saying that hyperbole either.
Even though I don't think he was actually wearing a bullet vest on that day. So what happened there, I'm not sure. Something else that is really bothering me, just because I have done these campus tours, is the question of why Charlie was set to do 2 events in Utah a mere 20 days apart. Okay.
Who cares?
He's supposed to do UVU. And then today was scheduled to do, just 20 days later, USU. Now, those 2 campuses are just under 2 hours apart if you're driving. Why on earth would he schedule these events apart? It's not how Turning Point USA normally decides on their events. If you're going to do.
The reason you don't work for Turning Point is we're probably seeing your exit interview. We're watching your exit interview right now. And we now know and understand why they fired you, why they got rid of you, why you don't work for them. Because who cares? Why is that a scandal that they decided to do 2 campus tours 20 days apart? So what? Why is that scandalous? I don't, for the life of me. And I know the candies are going to jump into the chat and they're going to be like, well, what about? Come on, for real? That's like saying the NBA team can't play on the West Coast twice in 20 days. Just stop. Just stop. You sound silly. You sound really ridiculous. All right, let's get done, Jason.
2 stops in one state, they make it happen back to back because it doesn't make sense from a fuel perspective, from a traveling perspective.
Why?
They go in and out of one state. Plus, they only have a limited number of events, right? So they want to make sure they can go all over the United States and see as many students as possible during every tour. This is how it works. I know how it works because I came from Turning Point USA, okay?
But you haven't been with them. And yes, I know she might have spoke with them last year, but please understand, since then, is it possible? Do you make room for the fact that they could change the way they do things? Is there possible, or rather, is there room for the fact that, hey, maybe they decided to move in a different direction, and yeah, it might not be the most equitable, or it might not make the most sense financially, but it's good stewardship because we're still going to be able to reach more students. Do you make room for that? Or do you even make room for the fact that, ma'am, you don't work for them, you don't know, you can't speak intelligently on them? Do you even consider that?
I have toured with them every year, with the exception of this year, since I started working for Charlie. So that just struck me as very odd. Okay.
Every
We've also
year?
received, or maybe I should say, maybe not odd, just something new, maybe. We've also received a lot of tips that the hospital that Charlie was taken to is not the closest hospital. And it also would not have been the #1 choice hospital for someone that was suffering from that sort of a wound. Like, it was a trauma 3 center. He was taken to a smaller regional hospital that was a little farther away and was further away and was also less equipped for the trauma that he suffered, that he was taken to Timpanogos Regional Hospital. And also something new is that hospital had just announced that they had a brand new CEO and head surgeon named Andrew Zenger. A lot of new stuff happening. And to be clear, typically the states dictate the protocol, and you're required to, after you have a certain number of attendees at an event, you are required to have an ambulance on standby. And I don't know Utah state law, but I also found that weird, that there wouldn't have been an ambulance on standby. Again, correct me if I'm wrong, but seemed atypical to me. Now, in terms of other things that were new, they announced on that same day that Andrew Zenger was announced as a new CEO. That
She throws shade even in the voice inflection. New, as if there's something wrong there. Y'all, okay, I gotta just go. Yeah, I'm surprised. I was surprised she didn't use this Zinger, his last name, and throw that in there. I'm kind of surprised. But let's go. Let's finish up. This is gross, y'all.
was also the day that they announced Charlie's tour. They announced 5 dates, and 2 of them were in Utah, dispersed throughout the month. And it is also interesting to know that the Utah FBI also got a new set of employees. The state FBI department, Kash Patel, went ahead and fired not only the chief of the Utah borough, but also some other people. You can see this in the Daily Mail article. They recount this after Charlie's death. Kash Patel questions grow as it's revealed he gutted the Utah FBI leadership before Charlie Kirk's assassination. That is true. He fired the chief, among other people, and replaced her with Robert Bowles in August. I think Robert Bowles, actually, it was his first week when Charlie got shot. And he's somebody who has been in DC for decades. So it seems to me to be an unusual placement to then want to re-up your entire life, assuming you have a wife and kids, and move to Utah. But whatever. Again, everything just feels a little too brand new to me. Then I speak to the individual who I told you guys that I recognized, that had taken down the cameras minute 4 after Charlie was shot, the back camera of all the ones when you take the front camera. I don't know. Again, I'm not here to read into how people might act in an emergency event.
But you do.
He was there in general, actually, that he was behind Charlie the entire time. I've never seen that. He's never been behind me at an event. He's never been lingering around me at an event. And I asked about that. I asked about just his presence behind Charlie, and plus the mysterious phone call that he was seen making in like minute 3 after Charlie was assassinated. And he told me explicitly that they were trying something new that day. Like, it was something new. Charlie's super ambitious. And on the AV thing, they were trying something new, and they wanted to be able to feed it back instantly to Arizona. None of it makes sense to me because these events are typically live streamed. But again, something new. Okay. So let's stick with that theme. Do you want to know something else that was brand new leading up to this event? Charlie's perspective on Israel. Okay.
Oh, here we go.
So you can hear it. Charlie Kirk's perspective on Israel was not starting to shift. It had shifted entirely. Okay. There are no ifs, and there are no ands, and there are no buts about it. Israel knew that.
All right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen, because she's going to give us receipts. She's going to tell us how she knows what she's about to say. I'm looking forward to the receipts. I got my notepad, I got my smartphone, and I got my dumb phone. Let's go.
Turning Point USA knew that because Charlie was explicit. So my question is, why isn't Turning Point USA making any statements and shutting down this repeat attempt by Israel to lie and to pretend that towards the end, Charlie was just authoring love letters to Israel, giving them a perspective of, here's how we can win the problem. Here's what you guys need to do. You need to work with this Hillel.
Notice also, okay. Another reason why I know she was lying, and I'm going to say that, another reason why I believe she was lying when she said that Bibi Netanyahu's letter was fake, she knows nothing about it. What she was speaking about was very general. that he critiqued the war, he critiqued their foreign policy, and he thinks Netanyahu's a bad person. That's pretty general. And you can kind of finesse that out of that letter if you really wanted to. Nothing about the information. What was it? The information truth network, nothing about TikTok, nothing about influencers, nothing like that. She didn't know any of that stuff. She's lying. Wow. Let's go.
Whatever it is. Yeah, the same people that are calling me anti-Semitic, you need to work with those people harder. And he was just putting it on paper. Was it an email? What was that they were sharing? The New York Post, the Israeli Post, right? What were they sharing there? He wrote of his deep love for Israel and nothing else to do in May. Wrote of his deep love for Israel to a letter to Netanyahu. Netanyahu said they were close, but in the letter, Charlie puts his number, which apparently Netanyahu didn't have his number. And we're supposed to believe, did he send that as an email, by the way? Can somebody clarify, was that an email they were sharing, or did he send it in the mail to him? Could somebody share that, please? I'm assuming it was an email. Can someone share the timestamp on that? Just kind of like authenticate that email, because I'm very aware of what's going on, okay? And I don't know how the executives over at Turning Point USA sleep at night, okay? I don't know how you can present yourselves as a Christian organization and not be dedicating yourself to the truth. No matter what the cost is, you tell the truth. That's it, okay?
Oh, no, not they're not Christian now. Now Turning Point is no longer Christian. Y'all, hold on. I got to give it to her, y'all. I got to give it to her. I got to do it.
I don't know, but I know. You know? I don't know, but I know.
Oh, and you know what? I got to give her a double one.
But I don't like little lies. When there is one lie, there's 20.
This woman is sick.com. Good gracious.
You don't hide it. You don't try to obfuscate it. You don't try to say, well, wait until the memorial event before we start looking into who murdered him. You tell the truth and you tell it immediately. And I don't think they're capable of doing that. And I have an idea as to why that is. I think the same people that were pressuring Charlie are pressuring them. In fact, I know that for a fact.
Who?
So they might need my help. Okay. I'm going to state this. And I'm going to challenge Turning Point USA executives to issue a very clean statement saying that I am lying if this is not true. About 40.
No, I'm going to tell you, Turning Point. Hold on. My name is Jason. Ignore this evil, wicked woman. Do not engage her. Do not. That's all I'm going to say. This woman is crazy. She had already said she wanted to take over the FBI. Now she's going to, y'all, come on.
48 hours before Charlie Kirk died, Charlie informed people at Turning Point, as well as Jewish donors and a rabbi, that he had no choice but to abandon the pro-Israel cause.
Where?
Right. Okay.
Where'd you get this?
He said it explicitly, that he refused to be bullied anymore by the Jewish donors. Can you guys answer? Did he express that? Did he also express that he wanted to bring me, Candace Owens, back because he was standing up for himself? And then did he, just 48 hours later, conveniently catch a bullet to the throat before our onstage reunion could happen? It's a yes or a no. Okay. Let's stop this ditching. Let's stop the dodging. Let's explicitly, I want to hear from Turning Point USA.
No. See, this is it. Candace throws out crazy accusations and requires you to say that they're wrong. No, Candace, you say that they're true. Show us on screen where this evidence is. Show us the email, show us the phone calls, show us the text messages, the smoke signals, the homing pigeons. No, absolutely all the no's in Noville. Girl, go sit yourself down. Sit down and be quiet. No, Turning Point does not have to do any of this stuff. You have to do it. You're making the claim. Wow.
That I'm lying about that. I want you to say, no, it was just, he was feeling a little bit of pressure. No, I want you to literally answer what I have just said. It either happened or it didn't. I'm either making it all up or it happened exactly as I'm saying. And while we're at it,
show your evidence.
What is the name of the Jewish donor who sponsored the Hamptons weekend? Okay. And to Pastor Rob McCoy, were there any LLCs that you or your son were being paid through that sat outside of Turning Point? I'm asking that question genuinely. Yeah, I'm putting the fire here right at the feet of Turning Point because I am disgusted. I am. No,
see, this is where the Candies, shout out to Candies. Let me get the Candies in here real quick because y'all up here in the front of the church. Shout out to the Candies. She's making a fool out of you. She's making a fool out of you, Candies. She knows I'm not going to reach out to Turning Point and accuse them of this. I'm not going to reach out to Rob McGregor or McCoy. I'm not going to do that. They know that most of the people in the best live chat on the internet are not going to do that. She's expecting y'all to do this. And so she's putting out this chum for the sharks to come and attack Turning Point. That's what she's trying to do. She's making a fool out of you because she has not shown one shred of proof yet. Not a one. Why is she not showing any proof? Here's a letter. Here's an email. Here's a text stream. Here's a chat with this person saying XYZ. She hasn't said anything. She hasn't proven anything, rather. She just said everything. Watch out. She's trying to trick you. This is crazy work. I did not think this was going to be this serious, y'all. And I'm just yelling, talking out loud.
Genuinely disgusted.
Who
I'm
cares?
looking around and wondering whether Charlie's entire life was the Truman Show. None of you guys are behaving in the way that you should be behaving, okay? There's no way you are letting these lies fly unless, as I'm hearing, unless it is true that there was a big payday that was on the line. And if Charlie radically stated that he was done with Israel, if Charlie said he had no choice but to abandon the pro-Israel cause because of, and I quote, Jewish donors, the behavior of Jewish donors, if he said that, yes or no, well then, I don't know, maybe some people didn't want to take that risk that he was going to become Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson at Turning Point USA with all of those presences, so much presence across college campuses. Maybe they didn't want to take a chance. You see, I'm just one person, so it's easy to just try to cancel my life and lie on me every second of every day.
Why, if let's play a game. Let's say that, in fact, Charlie did want Candace to come back to Turning Point. Why is it, where are we at? 20 days after his assassination, does she mention this? Why was that not one of the first things out of her pie hole? Like, man, I was about to go back to Turning Point. And the guy that was responsible for it, like, why did you not bring that up literally before you started accusing Bibi Netanyahu about this? Why did you not bring that up then? Why 20 days later? I'm just wondering, because apparently releasing a letter you couldn't do that fast enough, but you couldn't have mentioned, by the way, oh yeah, by the way, he was considering bringing me back. By the way, the man that fired you. Okay. I'm just wondering, this just doesn't make any sense. And I know the Candies, y'all, I know the Candies is about to get it in the chat. I want you to get into the chat. I want you to get in the most electrifying chat on the planet. But you better come ready to explain why it is that Candace has not shown you anything. Why is it? Trust me, bro. Why? Because I can tell you, hey, oh, you know what? Charlie Kirk was about to have me come on. Hey, I forgot to tell y'all. Charlie Kirk came to my house and knocked on my door and said, Jay Witt, I want you to be on stage with me. He was. He wanted me to come on stage with him. He was going to be in Atlanta. He wanted me on stage. There you go. Same thing. Exact same thing, Candace. You are a liar. Based upon information and belief.
Turning Point USA, I think, got a little bit bigger than Charlie, and I'm no longer going to allow this lie in this narrative. So answer the questions, yes or no.
No, ignore her.
And I'm going to, again, challenge you to lie. And if you do lie, I'm going to expose the lies, and I'm going to start dropping videos, actually. So that's right.
Oh, what's going on? Oh, Candace is going to start dropping videos. Chick, you ain't stopped dropping videos since Moses was in preschool. Girl, go somewhere and sit yourself down. Please, I'm going to start dropping videos like you did on Macron, like you did on Kamala. Black Lives Matters, George Floyd. Like, baby, you don't stop dropping videos. Please go have all the seats, all of them. Y'all move over, let Candace get all the seats up here in this front row. This chick is crazy work.
Israel to wrangle a narrative that you know is not true. Charlie did not die pro-Israel. He did not die for Israel. He did not martyr himself as a friend of Israel. In fact, the friends of Israel were pressuring him. Really
That's
badly,
funny.
And he finally stood up for himself. And I'm proud of that. And I will say this, you know what? Somewhere Charlie is watching, okay? And I hope he knows that we are reunited, okay? We're on stage right now, and the Jewish donors are very angry about it, extremely angry about it. But it feels good to know that in the end, truth is going to win. So accept my challenge or don't. Before I get to some of your comments, I'm going to tell you about a couple of more of our sponsors.
Y'all, I got to get loud. I got to get loud. No letter. This chick still ain't show a letter. Yo, I'm right. Come on. Woo. I like when I'm right. This chick did not show a letter. We're united. This chick is wild, man. This chick is wild. Oh my gosh. Come on. Everybody who said she was not going to show a letter, please put "told ya" in the chat. Hey, who's DWC? Hold on, let me get his hat. Hold on. I don't know where the hat is. I lost it. Oh, here it is. All right. I mean, I don't know why I'm acting brand new. I got my t-shirt on, right? I got the old t-shirt on. Shout out. I told you in the chat. We told you she was not going to show any proof. There was no proof evident. No proof was hurt during the making of this video. Woo, Candace, you did not let us down. Everybody in Vegas is richer now because of you. Told ya. Woo, but the bees did catch it though. The bees did catch some flack. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Okay, let me see. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna wait to, you know what? Let's get at these super chats. Y'all, thank you so much for these great supers. Y'all, thank you so much. What do we got up in here? MT said this. I'm sorry. BJPC with the $5 says this. First time catching you live. Love you, Jason. So glad I stopped following her. What a narcissist. I support Israel. Absolutely. And let me just also point out how much, and again, I know a lot of people are going to hate this, but Candace Owens is not a Christian. You do realize that she's making Charlie Kirk's demise as if all he preached about was Israel and not about Christ and him crucified for our sins. So she can't even conceptualize that Charlie Kirk was actually preaching and sharing the gospel because she herself doesn't know about it. Oh, man. Thank you so much, Bo Bureau, with the $5 super sticker. I appreciate you. Postpartum psychosis with a side of paranoid schizophrenia. Amethyst Angel, thank you so much for the $5 super. I cannot disagree. This is some crazy, nasty work. She literally is saying that Charlie was going to bring her back to Turning Point, even though Charlie's the one that let her go. Okay. But she didn't mention that ever during anything. But now all of a sudden it's a reality. Okay. I can't wait for Enrique, the body language guy, to analyze this. Yeah, that's true. Let me know. We'll watch that in live. I hope he does this live. By the way, his Spanish inflection, English, and his snark, I'll need discreet undies and gonna laugh so hard. And breathe, Deacon, breathe. I mean, really, thank you so much, Amethyst, for the $5 super. Very kind of you. Zachary as well with the $10 super. I said $10. Thank you so much. Zachary as well. There's a part two? Oh, there's two of them. Sorry. Thank you, sir. Part one. I wonder if Katari Owens ever thought that sometimes your normal procedures need to change due to circumstances. I have no idea. I have no idea how she could just assume that she knows how Turning Point gets down. That is the craziest work I've ever seen in my life. I just don't even understand it. But thank you so much for the $10. And then another, he says part two, it could be fact that there was a scheduling conflict with the other school. I mean, really? Do you know what, like, let me go with this. What if the school paid for the difference of them coming back? Let's just say it costs, $5,000 to put on this event, but because they had to come back, it was going to be $7,000, but the school and the Young Republicans Association was going to pay the $2,000 difference. We don't know anything. So why do we have to assume the worst? This is the thing also, when I read the 1 Corinthians to you all, love assumes the best. Why do you assume the worst in every sentence? Everything, she assumes the worst. And then proceeds, because I assume the worst, I'm going in that direction of it being the worst. All right. No, probably not the Occam's razor to her is hard to grasp. No better than blame Israel. Oh, I'm a mean Israel. Like how does Israel get into this chat? That's crazy word. Martin, thank you so much for the $5 super. Look at this. It's like MLB can't play a doubleheader because rain wasn't playing. I mean, really? Hey, we have those major league games. It's kind of crazy. We think about baseball games are long already. And then they got a rain delay or whatever like that. Them games go on forever and they don't quit. Or they might say, hey, you know what? We got to play the rest of this game. We got to play the other game tomorrow. They didn't plan to stay, but they're now staying. As if that is wild. And now she is impugning Turning Point USA as being a part of this assassination because they won't answer her questions, not the FBI's questions, not the investigators' questions, her questions. Okay. All right, let's get at it. I'm gonna jump back in here real quick. Thank you so much for the very kind supers, you all. I appreciate you all. I hope I caught everybody. If I didn't, wait, got one right here. Got one right here. She gonna need a whole row. Thank you so much. She gonna need a whole row, whole pew for her and her 6 other personalities. I told you so. I told you so. I knew it. She wasn't not gonna talk about that letter. Shout out to Cat Mom with the $10 super sticker. Thank you so much, man. Blessing the team over here. Thank you so much. Let's get back to this. Let's go. Candace is going to be reading comments. Let's go.
I'm done dancing. I am done dancing with all of these frauds. It's just unbelievable. It really is unbelievable. Do me a favor. Don't ever let anybody try to speak out who just tortured me my whole life and then pretend to say something nice. Please don't do that. Just call them out on being hideous individuals. You know, when you end up in a world where like a couple of days before Charlie Kirk dies, someone like Laura Loomer is calling him anti-Semite and she's funded by one of Charlie's donors, Bob Shillman, who then does a 180 and is now pretending that she is morally fighting me to stop researching into Charlie's murder. You know exactly what kind of world you live in. Politics sickens me. It really does. Everybody who has a wish out there, oh, Candace, like jump into politics. I hate these people. I hate everybody involved in politics. It is all about money. Okay. They all sell their souls for money and there are no real relationships. And I hope that you are learning.
I can tell you emphatically that if money didn't matter, you know, Prince had a song called Money Don't Matter Tonight. And if money didn't matter, Candace would turn off her super chats and not run ads on her videos. If money didn't matter. If it didn't matter, she would not run ads and cut off her super chats. Because you can turn them off. I mean, we can do that. We can cut them off. You don't have to do the ad read. You can just say, hey, I'm going to do this ad free. We're going to just talk about it. We're going to do whatever. You don't have to do that. So Candace is just as disingenuous as she wants to assume that Laura Loomer is or anybody else for that matter. And for her to say that she hates people is kind of, again, it's just kind of telling. I'm just saying, I'm not saying that she's not, I ain't saying that she's not a Christian. I'm just saying she's not a Christian. Where's the fruit and the evidence thereof? I'll say it. Let me finish this up. Or yeah, and don't sell merchandise. Cut off your store. Cut it all off. Don't do ad reads. If you really are, if it's not about money. I'm just saying.
That if you're getting a lesson about that right now, and it's not left or right. I think which is something that I learned. It is not left or right. It is just individuals selling their souls. Comment from Rose. Rose writes, no matter what videos I've seen from people on the left or right calling you crazy, I call it fake and gay. You have my full support. Truth is all that matters and Christ is king. Yeah, here is the thing. People know truth when they hear it. Okay? You know truth when you see it. You know when people are lying and you can see the campaign now. It's obvious, right? It's all the same people making videos at the same time, posting at the same time. People that are accepting money through an agent of Israel somehow. I've also got contracts. Got contracts as well.
That's a lie. I'm sorry. She keeps doing this. People are getting paid through show the contracts. Then, if you got the contracts, then show them. Show it. Again, you're not showing anything. Not a thing. You're just saying stuff. You get to say it because the candies won't actually hold your feet to the fire and say, "Well, can you show me proof? I trust you, but I want to verify." They're not going to do that. Okay, let's go.
How these people are getting paid, quote unquote 501c3s, dedicating themselves to the fellowship of Christians. And I mean, it is a really disturbing market, but you would think that following an assassination, that people would tether themselves to reality, that they would say, I want to fight evil, and they would therefore commit themselves to truth. What I'm seeing right now is just stunning. It really is. I mean, I think his name online is Anomaly. AJ tweeted, is this what happened after the JFK assassination? Did all of his friends race to say, don't investigate, accept the narrative as it is? Maybe we weren't alive. Maybe, AJ. Murphy writes, I'm a progressive who disagrees with you on a lot, but as a fellow Catholic, I see the Holy Spirit working through you to find truth. We are fighting a spiritual war against evil. The left and the right must come together to fight authoritarianism. How to do that, by the way, I want to say to people at home, take your children out of these schools, all of them, okay? I cannot stress this enough. Homeschool your children, make it work no matter what. Stop sending them to the universities, okay?
How about you do a day in the life, a week in the life of Candace Owens homeschooling, so we can see how it's done. I want to see a week in the life of you homeschooling, and then I'll follow your lead. Because she's just talking at this moment. She's just yapping, as my kids like to say. She's just yapping. Show me how you do it. I'll wait.
There is a real underground. It is a communist underground. It is real. It is 100% real. It is not imagined. And what they want, the one resource that these people want, are your children. Simple thing that you can do, okay? And no, it takes a lot of adjustment. I'm waking up and I'm homeschooling my kids. And
I gotta see
by
it.
the way, it's the most rewarding thing in the world. Also, we just started this week, so it's only been for 2 days, but it's incredible how happy it makes me knowing that I am doing something to buck the trend as we are slipping further into authoritarian rule. Ashlyn Bigelow writes, advocating for a weekly Candace crash out, followed by, I'd like to apologize for my tone 10 seconds ago. Yeah, I'm kind of, yeah, I should do that. You're right. And I should apologize for my tone maybe like 5 minutes ago. I'm trying to be more conscious, but oh man, I'm working on this anger. I'm working on just really appreciating how fake and gay it all is. Like I'm just seeing these people just say, move on from Charlie. It's good. We're going to accept the narrative. We're just going to let the FBI do what the FBI does. And we're just going to pretend these glaring, obvious lies and holes mean nothing. And also work behind the scenes to the very people that were torturing Charlie. That is just not allowed. Not allowed. Natalie writes, Candace, I am giddy AF watching you today. You are on fire. To your audience, let's keep up the prayers, y'all. Christ is king. Thank you so much, Natalie. I really appreciate that. And I appreciate all of your support. Marzi, thank you for your support. Marzi writes, hey, Candace, in my super chat yesterday, I got keyholing and internal bullet bouncing confused. Oh, okay. I remember that you commented about that. Keyholing is if the bullet is too slow and tumbles and has external impact. The other is pinball bullets where they bounce internally, causing internal damage to the target. So pinball bullets are the ones that cause internal damage. Very interesting. George writes, we love you, Candy. I pray the truth gets out soon. Keep up the great work. The truth, George, it's inevitable. It is. It's not fun to be a liar because you got to squirm. And I appreciate the hand that they played here. I totally get the hand that they played here. They are lying. There have been a lot of lies that have been told from the very beginning. And the idea that Charlie was pro-Israel when he died ends today. That just ends today. HMMM writes, please stay safe. If I buy a shirt, please don't do a Cardi B and call me out for my XXX sizes. By the way, we do have some new merch. You guys demanded this.
All right, I'm gonna stop there because that's actually the end of the show. No refutation of the letter. No refutation of the letter. No other letters were shown. No contrary text, emails, smoke signals, homing pigeons were present. She just said, trust me, bro, they're wrong. They're lying. They're wrong. This is crazy stuff. Not a bit. Nothing about that letter at all. But boy, we got that merchandise though. We got that merchandise though, for sure. I want to wear my red hat today. I just like the way it fits on my head. But yeah, this is some crazy work, man. So that letter is burning up the internet. Everybody's talking about it. And she could not get it in herself to actually refute what was said in the letter, but rather mischaracterize what's in the letter to say, well, Charlie Kirk was against Israel. I know it. Trust me, bro. Well, what's your evidence that he was against it? Like, where is the person that's willing to sever ties with Turning Point and say, look, Candace is right. Charlie, did a meeting and said this, that, and the third about Israel, this, that, and the other. Because I really don't think that, well, first of all, I don't believe that she ever knew what the letter consisted of. I don't think she ever knew what were the components of the letter. So when she said it was just that Charlie changed his view on Israel, foreign policy, and Bibi Netanyahu was a terrible person. Just a very generic, of course, you can finesse that out of anything. I can get that out of this cup over here, right? So that's not a very deep thought. But now she knows what the letter says. But why didn't you say anything about that before? And now you come out of your pie hole and say that they were trying to bring you back to Turning Point? Girl, bye. Goodbye. That is a lie. And so now it's going to be, they deleted Charlie because he was going to bring Candace back. That's some nasty work. Yo, that woman is lost like a ball in tall weeds. Woo, but you know who's not? Derek Perry with the $2 super. He says this, there's no such thing as a pinball bullet. I have no idea what she's talking about. Listen, can we all just admit, Derek, we have no idea what she's talking about? Because I heard pinball too. I'm like, okay, whatever. I just can't. I don't know even what to do anymore. I'm like, whatever. She said, pinball bullet. Okay. Is that not buckshot? It's like, what are you talking about? JP, BJPC with the $5 says, I fail to see the significance of 2 events. What am I missing? And who made her the expert in TP USA scheduling? I don't know. But again, this is her motif. She's going to throw some kind of shade. Like, why is his name BJPC? Why is it not in alphabetical order? B, C, J, P. Huh? Like, she just throws speculation out there on everything. Everything can be reevaluated, reinterpreted. And please understand, they'll never be satisfied. I love how she says she's all about truth. But if the truth comes out and says, this is what happened, they won't be happy. They will not accept it. It doesn't matter, because they're going to find another way to finesse it. They're going to find another way to transliterate it and go in another direction. I guess the pinball bullet thing was about them. Like, once they run into truth, they go in another direction. Like, there's no, I've talked to one person at Turning Point, and they've been in the chat. So y'all go back and look at some of our previous episodes. That person is in the chat. So I got proof and evidence. And I've talked to this person. I'd love to ask him, like, is there any proof or any truth to the idea that she was going to come back to Turning Point? Making that statement sounds like I'm insane. You know what? As I like to say, Candace Owens is now an IQ test. She's an IQ test. Okay. If you believe Candace Owens, it already puts you in a box. It already puts you in a position. I already know how you get down. There's no way. But you know what we do? We make sure we hit that like button. Absolutely. Thank you, John 4:6. Christ saves. Thank you so very much. Reminding the people there's 715 folk up in here. Make sure you hit that like button. Help your brother out. Help me out. It's free. Just go touch that button. Yeah, this is crazy work. This woman literally just said she was coming back to Turning Point. Never has she said that before. Never has she alluded to that before today. But 20 days after Charlie Kirk's departure. Now, mind you, she didn't say anything about it before either. So let's just go and say that as well. If he was assuming, and she knew that he was going to try to bring her back on, then she would have known about it on the 5th, right? She could have known about it back in August. She would have known about it before the 10th, and she for sure would have said something about it before September 30th. That's all I'm saying. Have I seen Phil's video? Who's Phil's video? Who's Phil? I don't know who Phil is, so I apologize. If you could let me know who Phil is, I will look at it. I have not seen anybody named Phil's video, so it's very possible I have not seen it, to be completely transparent. But if you could drop the link in the chat, I'll pull it up. We'll check it out. Oh, Phil Lyman. Okay, let's go see. All right, what do we see here? What do we see here? Trying to find it. It might be on Twitter. I'm sure it probably is. If you could tell me, is it on the Twitter or is it on the YouTube? That's going to be interesting. But I mean, she's mad reckless. I mean, she's putting all their government name and everything out there. So, I mean, if it happens, I can't think of a better person for it to happen to. Okay, let's see. I found his Twitter, but I don't see that he's oh, well, never mind. I found it. Whoa, it's 53 minutes long. Is it 53 minutes long? Oh, my word. No, I think there's a lot of suspiciousness came my way, but please understand, everything doesn't go like a movie plot. Everything doesn't go simple and and cut and dry and everything's wrapped up in, 90 minutes. I'm not under this impression that everything goes perfectly. Just like car chases and shootouts and anything else doesn't go perfectly. So no, I'm not saying that there's not some levels of suspiciousness, but some of the suspiciousness is just silly. Like her tracking down these college students and, oh, well, he works at a company. He's at a goth beekeeper convention. What the heck? Like, that's just doing the most. That's just doing too much. Am I not saying that there's some problems with the story? I've said that before. But then I've also said my investment is not in that. And therein is the rub. I'm not invested in that. I'm not invested to that level where I'm going to fly out to Utah, y'all. Next episode will be from Utah. I'll be traipsing the Tyler Robinson Trail. No, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. And I don't think that, again, most of us are probably treating it like that. Like, hey, it's interesting up to a point, but then I got to move on. I have a church community that I'm responsible to. I am not responsible to TPUSA. I'm glad for what they do and I want them to be successful, but I'm responsible to the women that live here in Whitaker Park. I'm a husband and a father of 2 girls. I'm sorry. I got a lot of responsibilities right here. I got enough things to worry about. I'm not traipsing around running after TPUSA. Now I'm going to keep dunking on Candace because, hey, it makes it fun. And I got 684 of my nearest and dearest that like to talk about it. So I'm going to keep doing that. But no, the investment level is not as high as people want to make it out to be. And therein is the problem. Okay. I had to do video. I did not bring it in. He talking about Candace. He calling her out by name. Okay. Oh, we got to do this. Okay. So everybody, Phil Lyman, whom Candace has been talking about, gubernatorial candidate in Utah, he has done a video and it looks pretty telling. I don't know what he's saying. He might say that he thinks that I'm a terrible person. I don't know all that he's saying, but let's see. Green hearts in the chat. When you can hear, my loves, let's go.
All right. Yesterday, Candace Owens decided she would dedicate her whole show to slandering and defaming me and anybody that has anything to do with me. She bases her lies on the lies of Truman Van Cott and calls him Nick because he's only a little boy, 20 years old, a student. Well, Nick was running for city council. He's working on people's campaigns. This is really troubling. And I guess what I would say is that I don't sense any concern, genuine concern from Candace Owens to help Charlie Kirk. She's not an investigator. She is a pundit. She's a grifter. When I cut the commercials out of her whole show, it left me enough time to do 20 minutes worth of commentary on it. I left one of the commercials in towards the end just so you could get a flavor for what she is doing. She's in business and she's trying to make money, which is her prerogative. The thing that bothers me, honestly, is the misinformation and the attacks, the libel and the slander. And we are going to have a discussion about that. At least my attorneys and her attorneys are going to have a discussion about that. I guess there's entertainment value in what she does. And here's the problem that I've got is that I've been a big fan of Candace's for many years, and I saw a lot of value in her provocative style. This isn't provocative. This is bald-faced lying. It's making up a story as she goes along. I do have to wonder about her mental health as I go through this, and I'm sure other people have felt the same who have been on the receiving end of her lies. So that's just a heads up to what I'm doing here. I didn't do the entire episode, but 80% of it was dedicated to slandering Phil Lyman and to slandering others close to me, my family, anybody that has anything to do with Phil Lyman.
Wow.
And it's ironic because she's saying, well, I need your videos. If you don't want to help, it's like, I am helping, Candace. You're not helping, and you are not in charge of this, and you do not get to control people. You don't get to control the narrative.
Wow.
And really, the biggest thing is that Charlie Kirk deserves better. He deserves better than this. I'm appalled. I'm truly appalled at the opportunistic tone of Candace's reporting these last few days. Now you can knock yourself out, Candace. Go do your thing. We'll see you on the flip side.
Not suicidal. And I'm going to tell you how I know that. Also, while investigating this assassination, there is a politician's name that keeps coming up. And now he's apparently mad that we keep asking questions. I'm beginning to think that he might know something that he hasn't yet shared. So I wanted to kind of loop you guys into this and see what you think. Welcome back to Candace. I do also want to say before we get into reading and telling you something even crazier that happened. I'm talking crazy, crazy. I do want to assert here that I'm uncomfortable with the fact that despite all the friends that Charlie Kirk made, all the schmoozing that he did, presidents, right, department heads, I am the only person that is publicly demanding further investigation into his assassination. Why? It's totally rubbing me the wrong way. Something's not right here. Or too late. Again, visit tnusa.com/Candace or call 1-800-958-1000. Okay, so something very strange happened this weekend. And I need to tell you guys about it. I need to offload this and get your opinion. Now, first and foremost, I have to tell you about this student who I'm going to refer to as Nick. Nick is not his real name.
All right, Candace, you've got my phone number. Not because I tried to get a hold of you, because I didn't. Your guy, Truman Van Cott, who is not a child, ran for city council, got my endorsement, running for public office, running other people's campaigns, wanting to run mine.
I'm going to refer him as Nick to protect his identity, obviously. I came across Nick very early on in this investigation. In fact, you might recall when I shared a photo.
I kind of wonder, how does Candace pick whom's name she'll share and whose name she will not? It does seem interesting that she shares this guy's name, but she doesn't share Nick's name. She doesn't mention the goth girls' names, but she drug all of those two guys that were with Lyman's nephew, and his nephew as well. How does she know who she's going to bring their names up and who she should not? That just seems very interesting to me. I would love to know how she comes up with that.
Online of a person that looked suspicious. He was wearing like a black suit and black glasses, and he seemed to have a strap hanging out of his bag. Here he is right here, and he was in the food court. I shared that photo because Nick had sent this to me into our tips box and said, this person looks rather mysterious. He's running through the food court. And from there, he kind of became my boots on the ground. He's like, hey, I go to UVU. I'm a major Candace Owens fan. I want to help in any way that I can. Okay. So that's how that happened. That was really, and right away, he told me on like day 2 of.
Thank you so much, Kane Carson mom. Thank you so much for the question. Phil Lyman is running for governor of Utah. He's the gubernatorial candidate in Utah. His family owns several properties around UVU. I guess they use them as rentals, maybe rent out to students. And somehow or another, he got mixed up in this because you can see his car in one of the videos where the suspected gunman walks by. So they see his car. Candace, of course, nosy Rosie, finds out that this is his car, finds out that he owns houses on this block and his family owns houses. And actually his car was parked in his aunt's driveway. And so, of course, all kinds of crazy wackadoodle stuff goes from there. So that's who Phil is. And I mean, it was yesterday's show. If you follow my channel, you can look at yesterday's show. She drags him all the way out. We know his shoe size. We know his drink at Starbucks. We know it all. So because of Candace being nosy.
The investigation that he worked on Phil Lyman's gubernatorial campaign.
Now I want to make something clear, Candace. I am not running for anything. I ran in 2024 against Spencer Cox, and I told you that on the phone.
Oh, sorry.
Truman Van Cott never worked on my campaign, and he was working on a different campaign during that time, worked on Spencer Cox's campaign in 2020. This notion that he somehow worked on my campaign, and you repeat it over and over.
She does.
During the video, as if maybe by saying it over and over, it will become reality. It's not true. You've been lied to.
Phil Lyman ran against the current governor Cox, and he lost. And one day, very early on, this must have been like day 3, Nick cold calls me, and Phil Lyman's on the phone.
Okay, a couple of things. Number one, you can find a better picture of me than that, but clearly trying to put up a picture that, in the middle of a face. Could do the same for you, but I won't do that. And Nick cold called me. I wasn't waiting for him to call me. He calls me and gets you on the phone. And then you sent me a text afterwards saying, hey, I've got a few more questions. And I said, yeah, give me a call anytime. Did you call? No, you didn't. You say that I was not responding to you. That's not true. That's a complete lie.
Okay. Like I said, he ran for governor, and I was prepping for the show, and things were early on, and I was still in a very aggrieved phase, and I didn't really know I was on the phone with this guy, Phil Lyman. And I was like, hey, thank you so much. I appreciate that you're offering help. And Nick insisted on me. He's a fantastic person. He has tons of resources. He knows the area. If you need any help, he can help you. Okay, great. Fast forward to me looking into the witness list, and obviously we spoke about this Tiffany Peterson Barker, that very weird clip of her with her nieces at like 4 a.m. in the morning, just speaking on Good Morning America, and her energy was just weird to me. I thought her being there was weird. Obviously, this is my podcast. I can say whatever I want.
It's my podcast. I can say whatever I want. Well, good for you, Candace. You can say whatever you want. You know, you can paint a target on the back of a good mother. You know, I don't know how many times you said the word weird leading up to that. But yeah, it's your podcast. You know, you can say whatever you want. You can fill it up with 30 minutes of ads during your show. You create, you know, income for your family. I get it. You know, every mother wants to take care of her family. You get on there and you say that those kids were actors. And why were they doing it at 4 a.m? Why were they talking to Good Morning America in the first place? Well, Good Morning America called me. I happened to be at the Petersons' home. The sisters were there. The kids were there. It'd been a really rough day. It'd been a really traumatic day. We were all trying to process it. Those kids love Charlie Kirk. They were there. They are not actors. Good Morning America was going to come to the home. For whatever reason, they said, hey, we're going to shift this. Can you come down to the college? And we're on Easter time. So we're a 2-hour time difference. So they went down. It wasn't 4 o'clock in the morning, but it was early. And they went down and they talked to the person. They answered the questions. Tiffany is an amazing mother. All of those sisters, all the Peterson sisters are amazing people, and they had a lot of children there, and they were very affected. You're very, very insensitive. You know, I honestly find it really disgusting.
We reached out to her, and then she gave us, a ton of information, but never actually presented to us. She never sent me directly any footage that could verify that she was there when Charlie Kirk got shot. Okay.
Wait, what? You said she gave you a ton of information?
And she was a bit upset that I didn't clarify that. I thought it was weird that she wouldn't just text me the footage, because it didn't allow me to confirm that she was where she said she was. That's what metadata is for. Metadata instantly will say, here's where you were, at what time, and this is this person's iPhone. So I wasn't going to lie to my audience. I just told you guys, hey, you can check her out on her Instagram. Here's her excuse. She says that this is why her nieces said that. And we sort of moved on, right? But then I learned.
What did you learn? What did you learn from Nick?
But then I learned from Nick that the photo of the person who was wearing that black suit and dark sunglasses had come from Tiffany Barker's mother. I was like, well, that's weird. Whatever.
So what's weird? I mean, you keep using that word weird. You're saying it's weird that Tiffany's mother was there also? That even Tiffany's mother came to hear Charlie Kirk and to help watch over her grandkids?
And then you'll recall we learned from Tiffany when I was trying to figure out, how did you get this hit on Good Morning America? Like, did you share something that would have had them reach out? Well, then I told you, she told us, actually, Phil Lyman is the person that put me on Good Morning America. My sister ran with him as lieutenant governor. And I was like, oh, okay. So Phil Lyman got you that position on Good Morning America. You had essentially a connection there that made that happen.
It's not a position, didn't make anything happen. You know, it happens to be that Good Morning America was interested in the story, and they were looking for people who were there.
And this is what I'm talking about. Candace will make the most benign thing sound as nefarious and wicked and evil and as possible. And that's the part where, if you're somebody that's claiming that Candace is a truth seeker, you're going to have to deal with the fact that she maligns people and literally disparages people wholesale. She does it so much, I don't even think she realizes it. It's like her native tongue to just throw shade at people just because. If I don't know something, then it's got to be bad. If I'm not aware of it, then it has to be nefarious. That's some crazy work, y'all. Okay, let's keep it going. Shout out. Thank you so much for telling me about this.
Eyewitnesses. And they're very respectful, by the way.
Don't know how I missed this, but then I learned that Phil Lyman himself was very involved in all the communications that immediately went out about the shooting. and that his car was in the driveway of the now infamous TMZ footage, which showed the shooter walking twice that day by this house. In fact, Phil Lyman says that he had just pulled into that driveway minutes earlier and had just missed the shooter. Here he is in his own words speaking to Kaylee McEnany. Take a listen.
I do want to linger on a moment for what you just told us, and I'm going to ask the team to pull back up that surveillance footage that we've gotten from TMZ, from those neighborhood cameras. You said that in that footage is your driveway, and you parked there at 11:30 a.m. We know this footage that you're looking at was taken at 11:49 a.m. So you would have been on that street, that driveway, 19 minutes.
Right across. Yeah, it's not my driveway; it's my aunt's driveway. Parking lot was very full. He's walking in front of my aunt's house there right now, and my cousin's house is the driveway that is taking that photo, and my CRV, the gray CRV in the distance there that is my car. I parked there probably 10 minutes before he walked by, and I had not seen this footage till just now, and it just keeps so many things that keep linking up. It's really astonishing to me. And then we went back to this house afterwards. They thought they had the shooter, so I took a friend of mine. We went back to my aunt's house and said, well, we'll just hang out here for a while. And before long, the people were combing the backyard, as you saw. She had the footage of that, and pretty soon helicopters are overhead. And so this is very, very local to me. Not only is it Utah, but it's kind of my neighborhood where I spent so much of my childhood and all of my relatives. Yeah. This is really astonishing. I got up yesterday morning at 6 o'clock to drive up and meet Charlie, and I haven't been to bed since then, because it's just one thing after another, and so astonishing that this could happen in Utah.
Now, just to be clear, and to reiterate, 19 minutes before the shooter walks across, he had just pulled into the driveway. Phil Lyman pulled into the driveway. He says that he saw Charlie Kirk that day. We're going to get to that. Also, when he says he grew up there and his family.
Yeah, what I said is I spent a lot of my childhood there. I didn't say that I grew up there. And now I think you're going to go into my family owns property there. Well, they've been there for 5 generations. And that entire area, including UVU, was at one time my grandpa, my great-grandpa's orchards and farmland. And all of that land has been sold off except for a number of lots. The people that are there have bought homes. There's a lot of kids that live there. The colleges wanted to buy that property for years. The church has tried to buy that property. They've made plans to move somewhere else. But yeah, they happen to be a Mormon family. They happen to care about each other. And after you've been there for a number of generations, you might end up owning some property.
His family owns, we were able to determine 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 homes right there. Incredible. Okay. Absolutely incredible. And that his little press tour, obviously now you're explaining your car was in the driveway. So the issue's close to him. That kind of makes sense. Then he went on to Alex Jones and spoke about where he was when the shot rang out. And what's and I'm laughing because it's kind of absurd. He kind of sort of blames it on these 2 random goth girls, maybe. He's kind of implying there were these girls that were wearing black and maybe they should be taken a look at further. Take a listen.
You never stop, do you? That I wanted to blame it on these girls. I made an observation that when others were panicking and running for their lives, that these girls weren't. Here's the clip. You can take a look at it. You see where that came from? It was right here, wasn't it? It was over here. Yeah.
Just yesterday, someone comes in and says, yeah, we've got video. He came off the roof. He came up here to the parking lot, got in the car with an individual, and they drove away. Well, that's not the story that came, that he escaped another route. And there are people who are coordinating this thing. I do not believe that 30-06 that they showed recovered in the bushes was ever on the roof. I think it was in the bushes to start with. And now I'm not saying that Tyler Robinson wasn't on the roof. I'm not saying he didn't pull a trigger. I know I was in very, very close proximity. So another interesting thing, like I say, I left the front of the stage. I wanted to meet some of my friends and bring them down front. So I was clear at the east end, and I heard this loud boom. I heard this loud bang. And I turned around and I'm looking what was that? What was that? And pretty soon some people started, running. Everyone was trying to process. And I thought, this is a gunshot and there's going to be more of them. I thought it could turn into a mass shooting. So I go to the people closest to me. Everyone's ducking down behind the concrete retaining walls. And some of them were still kind of oblivious, but there were two people that were standing there. Two girls, very goth, very black, And then I just walked, I stepped up to the side of them and I said, did that not happen right here? Did you hear that? Was that right here? They said, yeah, it was just right over there. So they're confirming, yeah, the shooter or wherever that sound came from is right here. The thing that didn't really dawn on me is that they were not running. They were not frightened. In fact, as I stepped up, I heard one of the girls, and they were talking to each other, and they're looking at these kids, looking at the scene down below of all these people fleeing for their lives. And she says, "Go F yourselves." And like I said, I was not processing that. I was trying to figure out what was going on. I thought this is a separate conversation. I don't know what it is. In hindsight, as I've watched that over and over, it's like these people were not afraid.
Okay, so what I get from that is he was up high because he says they're looking down below, and that maybe people that are wearing black are immediately suspects. I don't know, because they were not afraid.
Really, Candace? That's what you can gather from that? Is that I was up high, maybe looking down? Well, I was on the east side, on the upper level. That's the upper side. The lower side is down on the west side, where Charlie Kirk was. If you came out to Utah, if you went to UVU, like Good Morning America did, maybe you would have a better understanding of how this works instead of casting aspersions at everything that's said there. I really do not know what your motive is on this, but you're so ignorant as to what is going on here and to what happened on that day. But it doesn't stop you. It doesn't stop you from just completely throwing people under the bus, putting a target on their back, putting a target on the backs of the companies. 5 generations, I'll bet there's 2,500 steel related cousins, and 12 of them still own property back where great-great-grandpa had his farm. Truly, this is it's sick. You've got a sickness, Candace. You need to go see somebody about this. It's bad.
Anyways, he also went on to a local Utah news station and spoke about how he was with Charlie just before Charlie went on to stage. Take a listen.
Phil, thanks for joining us, first of all. But I saw a picture. I saw a picture of you with Charlie Kirk, and it looks like you were like maybe right before he went on stage. Is this just like minutes before this happened?
Yeah, no, I was basically backstage, and when he came out with throwing the hats, I was there. I was standing next to the stage, and I would have been there when the shooting took place, but I needed to go meet some of my friends. And I didn't want to just hang around. So there's a part of me that's glad that I wasn't in close proximity, and part of me that feels bad that I wasn't there.
Let me real quick. I'm just going to throw out something. You know what? What if Phil Lyman is lying completely? He just wants to be popular. He just wants to do a press tour. He just wants to be, you know what? He's lying. Let's say he's lying. He you know what? He was standing on the balcony. He really didn't see it. He really didn't talk to Charlie. He was just trying to, you know what? He's just trying to get famous. What does that mean? He still didn't do it. And Candace has literally spent the whole day yesterday and part of today, really most of today, on this whole Lyman story. And who cares? Who cares? Unless you're trying to say that he killed him, he did it, then what does it matter? I'm not trying to be funny, but I am trying to say, like, okay, so what? Maybe he is just completely lying. Maybe he just wants to feel popular. Maybe this is an opportunity to get his 15 minutes of fame. People calling him, reaching out to him, so on and so forth. What does it matter? Are you trying to say that he did it? You see, that's why I'm saying, like, this investigation matters none. It doesn't even net anything. When all the smoke clears, you've besmirched this man, drug him through the mud, and nothing actually changed. Not one thing is made better. But you know what is not going to change? The fact that Amethyst Angel is amazing. Shout out to her with the $10 super. She's good. She's the fighter pilot in Rhetorical War. TPUSA is that stealth bomber, and Erica is that invisible drone. The more Candy talks, the easier the target for TPUSA, and the feds. If you know, you know. Shout out. Thank you so much for the $5 super, and I agree with you. Thank you again, Making Lemonade, for the $5 super. People like Candace are going to hurt the case against Tyler. I mean, we already see it in the chat at the current moment. People don't agree that Tyler did it. And what are they using? A lot of the rhetoric that Candace has put out there. A shout out to James. Cynthia Inverno could, oh my gosh. When I read this, I didn't know who you were talking about. Ivero could play Candace in a Candy movie. She's wired to the moon. That is hilarious. I did not know. When I read that at first, I didn't know who that was. But then once I said the name, I knew exactly what you're talking about. Shout out to Bronx Girl with the $10 super. There's multiple statutes within federal law that make it a crime to put the information out to the public regarding a federal case. Candace is probably going to probably catch a case for this. I'm just saying, not trying to put it out there to make them sue her, but she's going to probably catch something for this. Amethyst again with the $2. She is free to speak, but not free of consequences. I agree. Thank you so much for the 2. And she brings it back with another 10. To all the moderators, stop timing out the trolls. They should be booted out. Did you get the subs only chat status? They deserve to reap the consequences of their free speech. Heathens can heathen elsewhere. Wait, to all the mods, stop timing out. I've been timing out people. I didn't boot them out completely. But y'all moderators, if you have a wrench, if you're in blue, you have the power. So go at it. I'll let y'all have at it. I got no problem with it whatsoever. You all, as the moderators, you're moderators for a reason. All right, let's keep this going. Let's get going. Thank you so much. Shout out to Phil Lyman.
They're just in some form of moral, presence and support. It's such a tragic thing.
When I combine those clips, I'm kind of unclear as to where he was exactly when the shots rang
Who
out.
cares
He was
what you
close,
think?
or if he felt bad that he wasn't close. Anyways,
All right, Candace, I'm going to try to explain this one more time. Close to Charlie is what I was in this first clip. Next to him, I talked to him just before he came on. I summoned him over to give a hat to this young gentleman who I was talking to. That's close to Charlie. 100 yards further east and up the hill on the top is still at the venue. I still witnessed everything. In fact, I was closer to the shooter at that point, closer to the sound of what sounded like a shooter, enough that I was trying to inquire, enough that the cops were running around there saying, where's the shooter? Where's the shooter? But I'm not sure that any explanation even makes a difference to you.
Right here, son. Right here. Right here. Here comes Sean. Right here, Charlie. There you go. Right on. You got it.
So I want to kind of explain this. So this is near, and this is not as near. You might even call it far. It's about 100 yards. This one's near. You can see I'm near Charlie Kirk. And then this one, you can see Charlie Kirk's tent in the distance, about 100 yards. So I'm not as near. So near and not as near. So I really want to make sure that I get this, because it seems like it's a hard concept to follow. So I was here, and then I was here. So if I bring in that, so I was here.
That's hilarious.
And then I was here. I was down here.
That is hilarious.
Here. That's where the shooter was.
I like him.
And I was about here, and the girls were, right in there. And that's the path of the shot, or supposed shot. At least makes sense that might have been where the sound came from. But I was here on the west, next to Charlie, and I came up the hill and kind of through the stairway and up onto top and around. And
the little hand thing is violent. That's just entirely too much. As a former classroom teacher, I can tell you right now, that right there is absolutely, he's throwing shade. He is throwing big time shade. That has got to be the best. Well, I got to take my hat off to that. I got to take my hat off for that. Let's go. Let's go.
Then I was here. So, I mean, I think this is actually seems to be working really well. So I want to apply this to another shot here. This is UVU campus, you know, so we're kind of zooming out using Google Earth here. And so you can see here's UVU campus right in this area. So there's UVU campus right in this area. That's where Charlie Kirk was. And then that's where I was when I was not near Charlie Kirk. So right there's 800 West. And that's where I parked. And then I walked down, I came through the stairway underneath, walked over, came over, walked down through the Browning building and out onto the courtyard. Met some college kids, went down, talked some more, went back in the back there, met Charlie Kirk, and then anyway. But yeah, that's where I parked, right over there. Now my grandpa's, that's where Truman lives, right up there is where Truman lives. And I know that because that's what we, you know, in the hours of going over maps and talking about neighbors and things, that's where he said that he lived. You know, a couple of weeks ago, he told me that. This was kind of the outline of my grandpa's original farm. And when I say that, it was also his brother, so it was probably my great-grandpa's and maybe even my great-great-grandpa's farm. I remember as a kid, there was no college there, and there was no even I-15. That's where my mom grew up, right there, right? Yeah, right there. That's where they lived, in a little house. Her and her 4 siblings, one died. That's where DeRay Broderick lived. Now the university owns that. You get the Howells that live next to them there. This, you can see the wooded area there to the right of that finger, but there's the Losi building. Now, if you ever want to come out, I'd be happy to show you the neighborhood, but it's kind of awesome with technology. You know, I can kind of give you a lay of what it looks like out here since you've never been to UVU, maybe never been to Utah. So a lot of my friends were parking clear over here in this parking lot, which is a long ways, you know, way further than what it would be for me to park there, you know, at my relative's house and walk over. And so that's kind of what I did was park there. But anyway, that's kind of an overview of campus. And
he went onto Instagram that night as Tiffany was prepping her Good Morning America hit, I suppose.
As Tiffany was prepping her Good Morning America hit, I guess getting the wigs on those small actors to make them look like children. It really special. It was really, really special. Candace, thank you so much for the concern and the love that you must have had for Charlie Kirk to make this video.
And he speaks further about what he was doing back onto campus and what exactly he remembers. Take a listen. Again, this is on September 10th, and it's around 11:30 p.m. at night.
Hey, it's September 10th, 2025, and I was just heading back from Salt Lake to Blanding. I mean, a very late start. It's about 11:30 at night, and I wanted to swing back by UVU campus where Charlie Kirk was killed today and see if I could let a few of the police officers know how much I appreciate the work they're doing, see if there's some college students here that I could rub shoulders with, more for my benefit than for theirs. But what I really wanted to share was I was very close this morning where Charlie Kirk was at, met him backstage, and we talked for a moment before he went on stage, and I was backstage as he started speaking, and decided to go up top, and I went up to the top, and ironically was very close to where the shooter was. Apparently, the shot was very loud, and I determined pretty quickly that whoever it was on the roof, and it was a 200-yard kill shot.
Where was he? I don't know.
So I was here, and then I was here.
I find this to be a little weird, but look, let's be clear, by no means conclusive of anything other than perhaps a strange coincidence. And maybe this is why he feels so impassioned and wants to keep speaking about it. Also, you know, he's a gubernatorial candidate. makes sense. This would be a political moment to show that you're a leader. And look, life is not exactly an Agatha Christie novel, right? Where the guilty party somehow inserts himself into the investigation. So I park that aside, I keep pushing, and I'm following more public leads. But also, I do recall in the back of my mind that both Phil and Tiffany Barker, and as it would turn out, another person that lives on that.
Okay, it's got to be the high point of comedy that Candace is calling out people who are inserting themselves into the investigation. That's got to be comical. That has got to be a comedy skit. Ma'am, that's what you've been doing for the last 3 weeks, is inserting yourself into the investigation. You literally called the FBI and said, you'll take over the FBI. You're wearing a shirt saying the Candace Intelligence Agency, for crying out loud. Candaspiracy. Do you not realize how insane you sound? Oh my gosh. This is some... I don't get it.
Shumway kept trying to get me to look into Governor Cox because he's, according to Tiffany, very supportive of the trans stuff. You should look into Tiffany. Tiffany said into Governor Cox, and similarly, the Shumway emails were like, you should look into this Governor Cox because he likes trans. So they're open and close. That feels to me always just like Fed bait, left versus right, right? He likes trans people, so it has to be him. Okay. Oddly, look, I'm just following the facts here. Nothing in my investigation.
Candace, I'm sure in this extensive investigation that you've been conducting, that you've got the receipts, and so just show us that that email from whomever this Shumway person is that said, "Hey, you should look into Spencer Cox because he likes trans." I'm sure that's exactly what he said, and you're taking probably the key issue in this undermining of the culture of the United States and of our college campuses and of Utah, and you ridicule it in such a contemptuous way.
Has made me ask a question further about Governor Cox on that day. Nothing came up organically, so I'm not going to push it just because he's a Democrat.
Easy mistake to make, calling Spencer Cox a Democrat. No harm, no foul.
And actually, where I was at this process, what's that? Oh, pushing that because Governor Cox is his, sorry, I said Democrat because he's his, he's warring with him. And that's the candidate that he wants to go after.
Yeah, welcome to Utah. I mean, I don't even know what to say. He's the one he's warring against, the one that he's going after. The election was in 2024. Maybe you should look into that. But anyway, you just keep going. This is great. You just keep going.
And I actually start noticing as I'm looking into this investigation that everyone who was involved on that day, I mean, literally the person who spots the shooter on the roof, military, the person who says, oh, I just happened to be in the right place in the Flag of Halls where I saw him running, also in the military. And I'm starting to think, is it possible that this is like a military hit? I don't know, but I'd like to find out. Next came a tip that you guys saw me receive live on the show. A woman paid to say, Candace, there's more footage of the shooter on that day. And you should know that that shooter was with a woman, right? That's a tip that I've seen, that woman, the shooter was with a woman and he was seen changing clothes and that they've cut out that footage. So I reach out to that individual and the name that they give me for the house that this took place in, and I'm able to confirm that this property is nearby, is owned by Lyman branch. So now, I want to be clear, I could not attach whether or not yet this individual is related to Phil Lyman, but he's been honest about the fact that his family lives around there a lot. Like, the Steele Lyman clan is here.
So you found my long lost cousin, Lyman branch. Candace, are you related to Candace Bailey? I mean, you have to be. Maybe Owen Wilson. Yeah. I mean,
Owen.
I mean, I don't know, but I'm guessing.
They look alike. They do.
I'm just guessing that you're probably related to Owen Wilson. I mean, Candace Owens, Owen Wilson.
So I was a little bit on alert, a lot of it on alert, and I decided to just do a basic search into Phil Lyman. Like, is his family in the military? I don't know. I'm asking the question to myself, and I'm quite surprised that it's impossible for me to find out who his mother and father are. Like, I literally don't know what goes on in Utah, but it seems like a very weird thing to me that you would be able to keep information about who your mom and dad are private if you're running for governor, right? So I just simply ask Nick. I haven't shared any of this with Nick because I know that he worked for Phil Lyman, and I'm not.
Candace, my dad died in 1991. My mother is about to turn 91 years old. I've got 7 siblings. You are really, really bad at this investigative stuff. Really, really super bad at this investigative
Wow,
stuff.
super bad. Not as bad.
Make sure
super
you
bad.
ask Nick, 20-year-old Nick, who doesn't know me, doesn't know my family, doesn't know my kids, lives 4 hours away. But yeah, ask Nick. And oh my goodness, Nick doesn't know Phil's parents either. A dad who died 10 years before he was born, maybe 15 years before he was born. So pathetic. So
I like this guy.
Desperately
I like him.
Accusing Phil Lyman of anything. I'm just like trying to actually shut that down. And he says, I don't know who his mom and dad are. I'm like, what do you mean? You don't know? Okay, weird, whatever. I then decide to keep pushing on military leads that I have, people that were on the ground that day who I've confirmed were in the military. Anyways, then something insane happens. Nick calls me and he's a little bit undone. He tells me that Phil Lyman has just showed up at his house. Now, I want to be very clear. Nick is 20 years old. He's a 20-year-old UVU student and a major super fan of Phil as of 48 hours ago. And he's very uncomfortable. And he tells me that Phil randomly messaged him saying that he was nearby in town rather, and asked Nick for his address, something that he never had.
Oh yeah. So I told Ian Carroll that I probably couldn't be around because I need to get back to teach a lesson on Sunday, and I had obligations in Hurricane on Tuesday, and said I could find some people that could show him around. I called Truman Van Cott and said, hey, are you at home? Do you want to go grab some lunch? He said, I'm just coming back from breakfast at 11:30. I'll be at my house in a minute. And I said, well, okay. He said, can you meet me over there? And I said, sure. Yeah, I'm right next to it. I'm right on the road. I knew very well where Truman lives. We've gone through the maps. He showed me, and I mean, I'll show you the text that he sent me. I know where Truman lives. It's not his house. It's his grandparents' house. So, I mean, Truman doesn't have a house in that neighborhood. His grandparents do. And they've been there for a long time. You know, actually, when I got married, when I was a newlywed, my wife and I lived in the basement on Cherry Drive, just around the corner. Our backyard's almost butted up against Truman's grandparents' house. So anyway.
Scandal.
Yeah. Turns out that Truman said, you know, come over. So I did. I said, I've got a Zoom call at noon. I can't stay long. And he said, well, you can do your Zoom call here. When I got there, I was like, well, it's okay. I just need to go. I'll probably just go out and I was going to drive down by the college anyway, which I did. Went out, got in my car, started up the Zoom call, drove down to the college. There's no weirdness there. I guess if Truman felt weird, then maybe Truman was thinking something weird. But I really wanted to call and see if he'd be willing to go and show Ian Carroll around the campus because he lives so close. By the way, Ian, I'm sorry. I told Nick, Ian doesn't want people to know that he's coming. But if you're willing to go meet with him, I think you'd have a good perspective and he'd be interested. And you're Nick, my Truman Van Cott. He knows that's the case, Candace. And you probably don't know that's the case because I don't think you think that far to like actually ask the question. You like to throw this stuff out. But yeah. So Ian, if you're banging around up there in Utah, again, please do not call Truman. But yeah, good luck up there.
And Nick, quite naively, being this Phil super fan, thinks that Phil's going to come and offer him a job because he's been so on it, investigating this Charlie Kirk assassination. And that's not what happens at all. Instead, he says that he shows up, he opens the door for him, and his energy is very weird. And he's asking him weird questions. He's looking out of the window nervously. He sits down at the table. He's asking him questions about my investigation. I'm like, I shared nothing with Nick. I literally was asking him, can you go here, pick up this, whatever it is? And he is thinking this is getting weird. I said, what specifically did he say to you? Well, he tells me that Phil has also set up a time to meet with Ian Carroll. Okay, so Ian Carroll is conducting his own separate investigation. We are not collaborating at all. But Ian Carroll publicized that he was going up to Utah because he wanted to be on the ground physically by himself. And he was reaching out to people who had been speaking about having been there. And Phil Lyman is so gracious that he offers to give him a tour. And Nick tells me, he's like, that's really weird now because we're like 2 weeks on from the shooting and Phil Lyman lives 4 hours away. So that's very, very gracious of him to do, but his energy isn't good. And then he mentions Governor Cox and he mentions Tyler Boyer of Turning Point USA and says that, again, this is according to Nick, that Tyler Boyer and the Lyman have been speaking and that they're, really going to make Governor Cox, and I'm paraphrasing here.
Is that what you call it? Paraphrasing? When you're just lying through your teeth? I didn't call Tyler Boyer. I don't know Tyler Boyer. We didn't speak. I didn't tell Truman that. That's just a fabricated story. I mean, your whole thing is a fabricated story, but I just, yeah. Well, I'll save it for later.
But apparently there's another Utah event, USU event coming up, and Governor Cox is supposed to speak. And Phil Lyman intimates that, at this TPUS event, Governor Cox isn't going to look great. I'm like, what? He then tells him, I'm going to go, if you don't mind, I'm going to take a phone call in my car. So he's just idling in a 20-year-old's driveway who just happened to work on his campaign, and he's on the phone. And he's why he's calling me panicking. He's like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I don't know what's happening. I don't know why he's being so weird. I don't know why he's asking me questions about this investigation. And I'm like, yeah, this is weird. This is very weird. So then I'm like, I'm honing in here. I'm like, what's going on? I feel like he knows something at the very least. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's how I feel.
All right, Candace. Everything that you say, you have to put a really suspicious spin on it. So let's just go take a look at Ian, at his DM.
Hold on one hot second before we jump in too far. This is exactly why what we're seeing with Candace Owens is exactly why you do not take the advice. You do not take the first person that tells you a story as the gospel truth. You got to hear both sides, because I can clearly understand what this man is saying. And Candace did spin it like it was the most nefarious, wicked, evil thing that ever happened in the history of man. So I can totally see it. Stop listening to this woman. But then also, do me a favor, make sure you hit that like button. All right, let's go. Ian Carroll. All right, let's see.
Me. This is him reaching out to me. Yeah, I hadn't messaged him ever. Thanks for bringing such great insight into the space. I didn't want to broadcast this publicly, but I'm actually driving 34 hours across the country to come to Orem right now. And I'll be there tomorrow through into next week. I have a relatively big platform across YouTube and TikTok and here. Are you open to meeting and speaking to me either on or off record to give me more of a sense of what the context is from the perspective of the people that live there? Also, if you know anyone there in the community that wants to get anything out, I would love to speak to anyone with honest intentions from the local community. An awful lot of speculation is getting transposed from the internet onto their lives right now. I can't imagine that somebody would do that intentionally, Candace. And I said, thank you, Ian. I'm in Orem now. I would love to go walk the campus with you or whatever. I have so many family members that are very close to this. Also, my LG candidate has great insight. Please put me on your plan. Call if you would like.
And I begin actually searching through our tips box for anything related to Phil Lyman. Maybe somebody else noticed something or knew something or he said something. And lo and behold, very early on, someone just messaged us and said, hey, like you should probably ask more questions about Phil Lyman, because every time I look into this investigation locally, him and his family members are popping up. And then that person tells me that his nephew had sort of done this public tour, like Phil Lyman's nephew did this public tour saying that he was going to walk the same route that the shooter walked near his grandmother's house, and that they found, you guys remember this, they found the Converse footprint nearby his grandma's house. And he presented a map. Like, this is it. This is actually from his Instagram. He presents this map, and his nephew's name is Shane. This was all public. I'm only looking at things publicly. And let's just look at some of these posts from nephew Shane. I mean, first and foremost, he's with his friends. I took my friends to my grandma's house tonight, and we retraced his steps, and we took pictures in the exact place that the security cameras caught him. I've been through this new experience for the last few days. I'm still very glad to have attended and to support Charlie Kirk and to see him. The last pic shows Converse brand, but brands.
Real quick. I think Phil has his microphone on, and it looks like he might have took a little nap. So that's Phil doing that. That's not me. All right, just letting you know. Looks like he might be a little nappy nap time. A little time for Phil to close his eyes.
And then he does hashtags, and here are him and the three friends. And by the way, I'm looking at the front on the right, and I'm like, I don't know. I'd like to know who that is at the very least, and I'd like to know who everybody in this photo is. This is just interesting. Like, you guys are in the staircase and posting side by sides. Like, they put these side by side photos of them in the staircase. And I just was like, I need to just know more about you, and I need to know more about these two individuals who I couldn't find on his friends list. And they certainly hadn't liked the photo, or else I would have messaged them directly to figure out who they are.
Y'all, put Phil in the chat. Let's wake Phil up. Phil, we got to wake Phil up. Y'all type Phil in the chat. Phil is a fool. I love him. Phil is my spirit animal. This dude is sleep. I love Phil. Put Phil in the chat. Phil is my man. I love him.
And yeah, I found that very strange. And so I messaged Nick, and I asked him whether or not he had ever received any images or videos from Phil directly. At the very least, we can see his line of vision, so I can figure out where exactly he was when the shots ran out. And I'm wondering if we can maybe get some footage that we didn't have before when the shots ran out.
Yes,
so I was
thank you.
here, and then I was here.
And also, by the way, metadata is king. That's kind of been it's good to see, because then I can put it in my timeline. That's why I love metadata. I can say this exactly happened at this time. Strangely, Phil kind of freaks out. He doesn't want to share those photos with Nick. And he asks him explicitly, whose side are you on?
Candace, you're either a liar or you're being lied to. And I think it's a lot of both. I didn't say, whose side are you on? Here's my text. In fact, let's just read this text. Saturday, 8:40. This is just this last Saturday at 8:40, day before yesterday, in the evening. I text Truman, hey, it was good to chat for a minute today. Sorry, I've not been in better communication. Ian kind of acted like his day was going to be full tomorrow. I'll let you know more as soon as I get a better feel for what he had in mind. I'm not trying to get with Ian. I'm trying to help Ian get with people up there who can help him. No worries, Phil. Did you happen to take any pictures or video at the event? I said, September 10th. Yes. Could you send the footage you have? I said, are you friend or foe? Serious question. Still bothered by the interaction surrounding blank. You know I'm a friend. What happened with blank? We wanted her timestamp, and it was odd she wouldn't share it. I know you are too. Blank reported that you said I was not pleased with blank, but what I told you was that there was no reason to question blank's motive or action. I should not have sent the picture of blank. I just sent to confirm we were talking about the same individual. I know you can speak openly. I know I can speak openly with you about this stuff. I gave all my video to blank. I don't think there is much there. I didn't mention you to blank at all. Sorry if that got misconstrued. We're just trying to get footage from every angle for Candace's show. Sorry about the rift. I'm trying to talk sense into Candace about blank. She wants footage from the right. Who is blank? I'm trying to find some of his stuff. He accosted Cox at the convention and then did the same to Stuart Adams. He has a pretty large platform. Caldera had their server shut down. by a cyber attack, and blank is dealing with tons of negativity based on known lies by Candace. I support Candace.
Hold
and I
on.
support her
So the company that makes the valves, that's Candera. I mean, yeah, that's Candera right here. That's that company that makes those valves that she was talking about when we were talking about the Ninja Turtles. So that I told y'all that company was going to get doxxed. I knew it. Just because they own a property near the school. That's crazy work. That is some nasty work. And again, if you're a Candy, this is your person. That's all I want you to think about.
provocative style. I think it's effective. But anyone who gives her info knows that that info can and will be used against them. Truman, what photos or videos did you and blank get from the event? And I said, I don't know if that's true. I'm not stonewalling her at all. In reference to the above one. He said, did you send any footage? Did the blank? I said, blank wasn't there. I said, I've never been asked for anything. I gave it all to the FBI and then I gave my stuff to blank. Send it to me. I said, now we're back where we were 2 hours ago. Basically, are you friend or foe? You don't want to share footage with Candace because she called blank a bad mom? Petty. Are you Candace?
Wow.
Send it to Candace, exclamation point. You have her number, exclamation point. And I responded with 5 exclamation points. Why are you being so evasive? This is why she's questioning you. Wow.
Dang.
This is actually after a phone call where he hung up on me, yelled at me and hung up on me. And Candace would like to say that I yelled at him. I did not hang up on him, and I'm trying to work with this young, impressionable person. Go ahead and send the footage to Candace. I won't be dealing with you. You're pathetic. I said, who are you?
Whose side are you on? I thought we were all on the same side. We're all trying to catch Charlie Kirk's killer one way or the other. You inserted yourself into this, got on the phone with me. I was not even trying to make any communication with you. I literally am just asking questions. And now all of a sudden it's like, oh, you don't want to answer any questions. You don't want to share anything. And he tells me that yesterday, Bill Lyman just calls him and he shouts at him. Who the F do you think you are, kind of a deal? You know what I mean? Like, who are you to ask me for anything? I already gave my photos to Taylor Hansen. And so at that point, I was like, look, you've been great, Nick, but I don't want you being shouted at. I don't want you feeling comfortable in your own home. I would like you to just remove yourself entirely from the boots on the ground elements of this investigation. I don't think Phil is acting in a way that I perceive to be stable, given the fact that, again, he inserted himself in this investigation and we're asking, this is my car on the street. Okay, you want to be helpful. We're asking you to be helpful. And now all of a sudden you're showing up at 20-year-old's house and you're being weird. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. And I said, I could reach out to Phil directly by myself. And I did. I reached out to both Phil and I reached out to his nephew, Shane. And I asked for them to identify the guys in that photo. Like I said, I was interested in who those individuals were because I couldn't find it on his friend list. And in response, Shane immediately takes his profile private. And Phil Lyman, leaves me on red.
I know this is probably as tedious for you as it is for me. Maybe even more so, but it's pretty damn tedious to me. But I'm going to read Candace's text to me.
Oh.
Reach out to her. I don't care what she has to say. She's not an investigator. She's a
muckraker,
deceptive grifter of the worst kind. Okay.
And if you're a Candy, when we say we want receipts, this is what we're talking about. There's still levels that we still got to go, but at least we have some kind of evidence that we can at least run with. At least we got some kind of text message. At least we got something. Candy don't give y'all anything. So I want to know, why does Candaspiracy not do this? Why did Candaspiracy not show us this when she drugged this man through the mud yesterday? That's my question. Shout out to MT real quick. He says, okay, wait. So Nick was excited that Phil was going to offer him a job. In the past, sounds like someone on Tyler's defense is in contact with Candaspiracy. I think so. Shout out to you. Thank you so much for the very kind $5 super. Let's get back to this. Let's go.
Hey, Phil, Candace Owens here. A few more questions for you when you get a moment. Would you like me to call now? Sorry to be slow on the response. I I was almost an hour and 40 minutes slow on my response. Let's see, Thursday, so Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So 4 days later, she says, "Hey, Phil, sorry I didn't respond. We had a major lead we were working on Thursday pertaining to Tyler Robbins. I'm looking to get in touch with your nephew. I reached out to him. By the way, he's not my nephew. He documented a lot of the footage in the woods, walking from his grandmother's house, and I was wondering if he'd send it to me." Now, I think you saw Candace's contempt for everything related to that little walk in the woods by a relative's son of mine. Also, Truman told me you were upset we had treated so-and-so poorly. I thought we were extremely fair. I can just see her face.
Why is he like this, man?
It's all you do, Candace.
He is the best.
She never sent me any direct footage. She sent me a screen recording. You said before she sent us tons of information. Oh, but no, she didn't send us any information. She sent me a screen recording of footage that was on some app. If she wants to send direct footage from her phone, I'd be happy to update things. We never intend for her to receive any abuse. She inserted herself. Does that sound familiar? She inserted herself as a witness, and we followed up on things. Yeah. She went to the Charlie Kirk event, and she saw what happened. It's just so bad. It's just so bad.
So I am now left in the predicament where I need to just ask the public. If you are one of those two kids that are in the photos there, I would love to ask you some questions since you publicized this tour. I mean, they even did the full video walking through where he walked. And, he said, my uncle, he posted Phil Lyman. So my uncle was with Charlie. This is the video that they posted. Everything was done publicly. And now I'm like, okay, you could maybe you have something that's helpful. I want to ask you about, could you send me that photo? Could you send me that video? Could you send me all of this stuff? And now I'm getting radio silence. So unfortunately, because I need to figure out what happened on that day, I'm turning to the public to try to identify those people and anything else that you may know that may help put things together for us. Again, please reserve the tips at CandaceOwens.com for actual tips related to the questions that we are asking, not for just comments, those sorts of things, videos that you'd like me to watch or things that you'd like to do to point me into a different direction. Please just tag us on social media so that we can try to manage this process better. Anyways, you guys, giving you a lot of weird stuff going on. Just need to know what on earth happened on that day. We get to some of your comments here. First, want to tell you about American financing because the Fed has finally dropped interest rates, and that's great news for American homeowners. Expenses have been a major burden on families. Wages are flat. Prices keep climbing, and for many, the only way to make ends meet is to lean on credit cards. With that cycle of high interest debt makes it hard to stay ahead. If you're a homeowner, you should call my friends at American Financing right now because interest rates have dropped. Many homeowners are seeing options in the low fives, and you can compare that to credit cards that are charging rates that are right now in the 20s or higher. There is actually an easier path. You can see how much you can finally put your hard-earned equity to work. It can actually work for you. American Financing can help you pay off that expensive debt, free up your cash flow, and keep your budget under control. Their salary-based mortgage consultants are saving customers an average of $800 a month. And if you get started today, you may even be able to delay your next mortgage payment. Take control. Call American Financing today. The number is 800-795-1210. Again, that's 800-795-1210, or visit americanfinancing.net/Owens. That's americanfinancing.net/Owens. All right, you guys. So what do you think? Is it weird for a gubernatorial candidate to arrive at a 20-year-old's house? Yes, I can answer that for you. That is weird. That is very weird. That was weird. Okay, there's no way around that. And again, hopefully he will answer and he will just send me some videos, and that'll be case closed. And maybe he doesn't want to help anymore. That's fine. But you can't insert yourself and then pretend you're under attack when people then go, hey, can you answer some basic questions? Marzi, little things like that. It's the same thing like when I saw Tiffany's interview. I just found it, like most of you did, to be odd. Given the fact that the hitman was still on the run, that you would bring your nieces there. And she gave her explanation. And like I said, you can go to her Instagram. She has asked us repeatedly to send you guys to her Instagram, where she explains why they decided to go back that early in the morning. And like I said, Phil Lyman was the one who got her the hit, or Phil Lyman's office, her sister, got her the hit on Good Morning America. Kristen Kaya writes, it's 1963 all over again. They don't like people asking questions. Furthermore, Ian being mentioned, yeah, random. And I called Ian. I was like, hey, Ian, just letting you know, like, I don't know. I don't think he's going to necessarily put you on a tour to try to help you because he's not being very kind right now to this poor guy, Nick, who was like a Phil Lyman super fan. And I think that went sideways.
You know, you have to end on, harping on Tiffany again and her kids and her nieces. You're not an investigator, Candace. You're not a good person. Seriously, talk to somebody. Go get some help. This is destructive. I don't know when I've ever witnessed a person who takes something that deserves dignity and turns it into complete sewage. But you're doing a great job of it. Again, that's your brand. So I guess we'll just leave everybody with this one last clip.
Kaya continues prayer for you and him. You're getting close to something. Keep going. Christ is king. We don't know now, but we know. You know, we don't know, but we know. And soon we're going to know now. And that's all I'm going to say about that. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
She leaning in on that thing. That thing is hilarious. She really leans in on that. And I think it's, hey, I guess lean on it. You sound ridiculous, but lean in on it for sure. All right, what we got? All right. This is an interesting point. I don't think that she's grifting, but she's like a schizophrenic trying to help in a serious case. There's probably some truth to that as well. I think there's some mileage that can be gained out of that. Oh, by the way, if you were interested in watching, following Phil, I just dropped his link in the chat. Check him out. And I am not going to pull up another one right now, but that's Phil Lyman, the man that we just watched. Shout out to Phil. I need Phil to come on the channel. I like him. Yes, stop it. Get some help. I don't have that meme ready, but I like it. All right, there's a lot of good family reunion going on in the chat. Thank y'all so much to everybody for sure. Yes, thank you so much, Law 1964. Thank you very much for that. I'm glad I found it. Thank you very, very much. That was very helpful. Yeah, Phil is funny. I like him. I like his snark. Shout out to him. Matter of fact, let me make sure I'm following him while I'm sitting here cracking jokes. I don't think I've already subscribed. Okay, cool. I'm good. All right. Shout out for sure. There's a lot of good conversation going on. And I appreciate y'all for sure. Y'all jumping in to the most electrifying live chat on the internet. Yeah, if y'all reach out to Phil, I would go, hey, I would love to hear a little bit about him and some of his snark. He's got some good snark. I like him. Oh, Candace is monetized. Trust me, she's monetized. She is 100% monetized. I'm watching the super chats now. So yes, she is monetized. Matter of fact, I can show you. Hold on. Here, I'm gonna show you an insider secret. Okay, yep, here it is right here. All right, so I'm just gonna mess it up. So people know that we're not just saying Candace is grifting because we just want to say she's grifting. All right, there's real evidence to her griftology. Her griftistan is real. So this is a website. It's called playboard.co. And I'll just put that in there. Playboard.co. And any YouTuber or content creator that puts up content on the YouTube platform, if they receive super chats or super thanks, super stickers, anything like that, you can see how much they actually made, right? All right. So here we go. Lady Candace right there. We know that that's her. Let me zoom in so we can make sure that we got the right one. All right, we know that is Candace Owens. All right. And of course, they give some analytics. Of course, how many subscribers she ranks, average video views. I mean, she like 2.2 million views. She's crushing it. Engagement. She has lots of engagement. She has high comment ratio on her videos. Absolutely. The highest viewers, that she's ever had is almost 292,000 viewers on a live stream, which is amazing. Average viewers $1.44 on average, and total live streamers, total live streams, 214 times. You can see the most recent video, and here it is right here. And this is how much she brought in during that live stream. And there it is right there. So to the person that said you don't think she's monetized, and she made a car note plus a house note today. There you go. Just wanted y'all to see that. So to answer your question, she's monetized. All right. Yo, shout out. Shout out to Tina. Tina's gifted some memberships out there. Somebody got a membership from Tina. Shout out to that for sure. Please tell Tina thank you for adding to the mod in the pod squad. Shout out to her. Bunny Mom says this: in your free time, you should check out Channel 2 Strong. They had a great video also on Candace. I've seen 2 Strong, and I did check them out. And definitely, I agree with you 1,000%. Excellent content. Outstanding. So I did see it. I want to say you might have recommended it to me earlier. But thank you so much for the $10 super chat, for sure. And I did check out what he's doing over there. I want to say thank y'all so much for rocking with us. I appreciate you. I knew Candace was not going to address the content of that video, and she did not disappoint. Now, I did kind of hope that she wasn't going to say anything at all, but she did. She just, I don't even know what she did, but she just ignored it. She talked about this as if that was like the biggest thing. Now, tomorrow, I doubt she's going to bring up, but she might. Who knows? I doubt it highly, but we'll see. I mean, if we need to, we'll probably do it again tomorrow, right? So thank y'all so much for rocking with me. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a fun afternoon, to say the least. All right, I see some good stuff in the comments. Let me make sure we are out of here. Yeah, I can't wait to see. I want to see what Phil says. Does he say anything more? But it seemed like she just kind of rehashed stuff from yesterday. So she didn't really give new information. But Phil brought receipts, maps, text messages, DMs. I mean, that's what we're talking about. That's what we need. So shout out to Phil for sure. But everybody, thank y'all so much for rocking with me. How do you stop her from dropping names and unreleasing evidence, fake or not, that could compromise the case and put people in danger? She's gonna get put in jail. She's gonna probably end up getting a gag order put on her. And then she'll plead, they're trying to silence me. That's the problem, is that her crazy cult will claim that, they're attacking her. They're trying to silence her, and so on and so forth. So I don't know how they're going to do it short of actually bringing legal charges against her. But she must have the secret sauce. Because if you're being sued by the president of France, I'm probably not going to try to perturb everybody in Utah and get them all mad at me too. Like, I don't understand this battle strategy, but she keeps doing it. So we're going to be here to watch. Somebody asked how much does she make on Twitter? I don't know. I can only see on Playboard. They only show you YouTube. So they don't do, because the other ones are kind of are very hard to nail down, like TikTok and Instagram, as well as Twitter. It is hard to nail down the monetization, but YouTube is very easy to understand. So, all right, y'all, thank y'all so much. I appreciate y'all so much for rocking with us. Let's do this again real soon. Let's get green hearts on the way out the door. Please make sure you hit that like button. Welcome, Lady Williams, a new member. Shout out to you. Thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate you. Let's do this again real soon. I'm going to try not to come back again tonight, but we'll probably do it again tomorrow, Lord willing. Everybody, green hearts on the way out the door. Make sure you tip your waiters. Have a fantastic night. Grace and peace. Take care, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Jay Whip Podcast. If you enjoyed today's show, please do me a favor and hit me up with that 3-piece special. Like the video, subscribe, and of course, share it with somebody who would also enjoy this type of content. And make sure you leave a comment, because I do pin the best comments to the top. So thank you so much for tuning in today. And until next time, everybody, grace and peace.